A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
This I believe. Stanley Kramer is an independent motion picture producer. In recent years, he has often been referred to as Hollywood's Wonder Boy, or genius on a low budget. And his friends add that he is a dedicated individual, dedicated to an ideal which underlies every picture he has made, including High Noon, The Happy Time, and The Four Poster. What is that ideal? Let's hear it in Stanley Kramer's own words.
Outside of those close to me and my family, one other person has had great influence on my way of living. That was the school teacher I had when I was 9 years old in New York City. Her influence was summed up in one simple statement. She said, "If you want to succeed in life, don't try to court great popularity. The greatest men who ever lived earned their greatness by doing what they felt was right in their hearts, no matter what anyone else thought. Have the courage to be unpopular." I've tried to use this precept as a barometer for a long time now. Sometimes it made for discomfort and many setbacks. I first came to Hollywood as a writer, and I like to think that what I wrote was unpopular instead of just immature. At any rate, a year later I found myself as an $18 a week backlot laborer. With the first 2 pictures I produced, I learned something of the truth of what that teacher had told me. In Champion, the hero was a heel, and Home of the Brave treated the delicate problem of a Negro soldier in an experience with his fellow men. I had put, I hoped, faith, integrity, and sincerity into these pictures, and turned deaf to the veteran showmen who were trying to convince me that I was committing professional suicide. But the public responded to what the pictures had to say, and the way it was said. They supported these pictures lavishly because, and I have always been firm in this belief, the level of public intelligence and taste is much higher than has been credited. More than that, it will respond in large measure to new ideas if they are expounded with vitality and sincerity. I believe that the key to progress and freedom is in the conscious fight against fear of public opinion. It applies to every facet of living and working. It means that a man must dare to protect his basic free ideas against any attempt to throttle them. It implies the courage to break established patterns and launch new ideas and methods. Even without the encouragement of a few early successes, I would still have made my 3 most recent pictures. Each in its own way required for its full expression a certain amount of defiance of popular conceptions in picture making. To make these pictures with sincerity, we had to risk unpopularity by avoidance of popular cliches and compromises. I would prefer to face professional criticism for departure from safe norms in favor of what recognition I may receive from the public for honest exploration of new avenues in entertainment. Cultivation of conformity and popularity is a safe way of life, but a really dull and dishonest one. I believe that it is the individual's obligation to the society in which he lives to preserve his integrity and basic liberties. In more personal terms, this means that I must be prepared to fly in the face of public opinion and stand firm on convictions that I know in my heart to be right. There may be a touch of martyrdom in it, but I firmly believe that that teacher had the ultimate answer when she said, "If you want to succeed in life, have the courage to be unpopular."
That was Hollywood producer Stanley Kramer, a native of New York. He started his career as a Hollywood writer and now heads the Stanley Kramer Company, Incorporated.
Face the camera, please. Hold it. Thanks. Look for it in the Morning Express. Casey, press photographer. Columbia brings you another adventure of Casey, press photographer, the Tonight and every Saturday at this time, Columbia invites you to follow Casey on his exciting assignment and to meet the strangely assorted people who pass in swift-moving parade before the shutters of his camera. Tonight, The Clue in the Clouds. In the quiet evening air, there suddenly comes a whirring of wings. It's a helicopter, apparently out of control. Like a giant bird, it flaps crazily about for a few minutes and then heads out to sea.
What is it?
Gee, it looks like a bird.
It's a helicopter.
It's a wild plane. It's out of control. It may fall.
Let it clear the street.
City desk. Bert speaking.
Hey, Burke.
Who is this? Casey?
Yes, it's Casey. Listen, there's an airplane loose over the city, a helicopter. Yeah, it's out of control. Something has happened to the pilot. It's headed out to sea. The Coast Guard is trying to get the plane in the air to follow it now.
Oh, yeah? Where are you?
Well, I'm at the Blue Note.
I thought so. Now, listen, Casey. Go home and sleep it off. I'll see you in the morning.
Now, listen, are you inferring
Yeah. You ought to know better than to phone me in that condition. Now, go home and go to bed.
Oh, stop it, Burke. I'm as sober as you are. I tell you, this is a story.
Okay. So it's a story. What do you want me to do? Stay up all night waiting for you to get it?
Oh, that's swell, Chief. I knew I could count on you. We're going down to the Coast Guard headquarters now and get all the dope we can. Maybe some pictures.
Who's with you?
And Williams.
All right, you crazy loon. But this had better be good. If that helicopter turns out to be a Halloween witch on a broom, you've shot your last picture for me. You get that?
Get it? I know it by heart. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Helicopter.
But I'm telling you, Burke, it fell into the sea like a millstone and disappeared.
Well, Casey, if 4,000 other people hadn't seen it, I wouldn't believe it. Whose plane was it?
The police say it was John Hampton. He had the only helicopter around here.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Flew it in from his estate to the top of his office building every day.
Our pioneer air commuter.
And he's missing, huh?
Yep, he and Mrs. Hampton both.
Well, take that stuff you've got to a rewrite man. Have one of the boys fix up an obituary. We've lost one of our leading citizens in a plane accident. And that's that.
Now, listen, Burke.
Casey doesn't think it was an accident.
Oh, for Pete's sake. And why not?
Burke, I think that dive into the ocean was planned. There's something phony about this story, and I want to track it down.
All right. What do you want to do? Go chasing geese again?
You better let him, Burke.
Someday, Casey, you'll go out and cover a story that I want covered. Now, go on. Get out of here.
Thanks, Burke. Burke, I'll tell you, I'll make a bet with you. If I'm right about this, the drinks are on you. And right now, I'm going over to John Hampton's offices to see what I can find out.
Oh, you better take Williams with you. She'll just sit around and sulk till you get back.
Oh, gee, both thanks.
Okay, Burke, we're on our way. You're, Miss Gray, aren't you? Miss Matilda Gray?
Yes, I was Mr. Hampton's secretary.
Yes, what we want is material for a little story on Mr. Hampton. You think you can help us?
He was a wonderful man. Everybody admired and respected Mr. Hampton. I don't know what else I can say.
He owned this building, didn't he?
Yes, the Hampton Importing Company occupies the top 3 floors. He liked the idea of having his office here in the penthouse.
Mm-hmm. Is that the landing platform for his helicopter out there?
Yes, that's it.
You mind if I get a picture of it?
Not at all. Can you take it through the window?
Well, let's see. Yes, I think so. Yeah, good, thank you.
Now, could we have one of you, Miss
Of
Gray?
me? Yes.
Why, I don't know. I don't look very...
Oh, you look swell. Look at this picture.
Oh, that's Mr. Hampton's picture. No, I couldn't.
Paper, this is just for the record, you know. You, you'd picture of your paws, wouldn't you?
Yes. I think so.
Okay, hold it. Thanks. Well, that's one you won't have to look for in the Express. Now, Miss Gray, what other interests did Mr. Hampton have?
Business interest?
Anything at all.
Well, he had a little commercial movie studio, the Aristocrat Film Company. But that's been closed up for 6 months.
Oh? Where's that?
At 292 Falmouth Street. They made shorts, commercial reels, and trailers. But it was only sort of hobby with Mr. Hampton. Never made any money.
Well, what do you know of Mr. Hampton's family and Mrs. Hampton?
She was alone when she married John, Mr. Hampton. She had no living relatives. And he just had an uncle. A Robert K. Hampton.
Oh, an uncle, eh? Where's he?
Well, he lived somewhere on an island in the Celebes Sea. Now held by the Japanese, I understand. He was a sort of black sheep. Mr. Hampton hadn't heard from him for many years. Assumed he was dead or a prisoner until... Until? Well, maybe I shouldn't tell you this. But shortly before his death, a letter came from Australia. I didn't open it, but when Mr. Hampton read it, he seemed terribly upset. Then he told me it was from his uncle.
Do you have that letter now?
No, it seems to have disappeared.
And this was just before his death.
Yes, he may have had it in his pocket.
Miss Gray, this uncle, was he by any chance mentioned in Mr. Hampton's will?
He gets everything. All his money, the business, this building, everything. Oh, Mr. Casey, this is all such a terrible nightmare. I can't believe that he's gone. I don't know where to turn.
Oh, Miss Gray, it's all right. You mustn't break down. You need to rest a bit. How do you know you'll feel better?
I'm all right. I'm sorry. If you'll just excuse me for a moment, I'll be right back.
Well, certainly, Miss Gray. I'm sorry we upset you.
Thank you. I'll be all right.
Casey, you know something?
What?
A clue. She was in love with her boss.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Never mind. Just take a woman's word for it.
What's the matter, young woman?
Oh, nothing. That is, you gave me a start.
Why should I frighten you?
You look like...
And if I may ask, who are you? What are you doing here? I'm just a reporter. And who is this young lady?
I'm a reporter, too.
What are reporters doing here? If you'll pardon me, sir, who are you? My name is Robert K. Hampton. I'm John Hampton's uncle.
So you think this uncle had something to do with Hampton's death, huh?
Well, look, a guy names the Black Sheep uncle as beneficiary in his will and suddenly gets a letter from him.
From all reports, he's very upset by it.
And the next day packs himself and his wife off in a plane for a double suicide.
Lieutenant Logan pronounced it an accident.
Yeah, well, it doesn't add up to me. This uncle ties in somehow. Come on, Ann, I gotta think. Let's get out in the air.
The nice smoke-laden air of the Blue Note, I have no doubt.
Hi, Ethelbert.
Hiya, Casey. Hiya, Miss Williams.
Hello, Ethelbert.
What'll you have?
One beer.
Same as usual for me.
Okay, beer and the usual coming up.
Hey, what are you reading, Ethelbert?
A book on victory gardening, I guess. My sister Edna gave it to me.
Oh, your sister Edna likes to read.
Yeah, she does. She don't drink much.
What's the name of the book?
5 Little Peppers and How They Grew.
Listen, why don't you read something interesting?
Like that death plane story of yours in the Express?
Something.
I'm following that, too.
Good.
Here's your beer.
Well, what's your opinion?
Well, I think it was a sort of chameleon of errors. I think this guy was planning to run away with some dame.
So?
He gets the plane all heated up for it when a heavily veiled figure sneaks into the cockpit beside him and gives him the nod to get going. Then he finds out that it's his wife and not his lady friend under the heavy drapes and that she's crossed him up. And by that time, he's so disgusted he dumps the whole thing in the drink.
On what do you base these deductions, Ethelbert?
Yes, mastermind. Tell us.
Quote, he who tries to fool his wife ends up playing the fool himself. Unquote.
You better stick to your books, Ethelbert, and leave the amateur detecting to Casey.
Yeah, and you know, Ethelbert, I wouldn't waste my time on 5 Little Peppers either. It's way over your head.
Well, to tell the truth, I'm having a tough time wading through it. You got any ideas?
Well, there's Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire.
They got that in a book already?
Sure.
Well, it just declined and fell last September.
Hey, look, Annie, you tell him. I'm going over and talk to Ernie.
Hiya, Casey.
Hi, Ernie.
Ooh, you look worried.
Yeah? Ernie, you got an old tune handy? Something for me to think by?
Sure.
That's good. Can't quite tag it, though.
Me and my shadow.
Oh, yeah, sure. Me and my shadow.
Yep. You know that other self always under your feet?
Other self, huh?
Yep. You got another self. Now, one Casey has to stay here and work on the express.
Yeah.
The other wants to fly away. Go deer hunting up in the woods somewhere.
Ernie, you got an uncle?
Sure, I got an uncle.
Well, look, if you knew he was coming to see you, would you want to fly away?
Well, I'd be tempted to.
Yeah, why?
Because it'd mean that he was bringing his 8 kids along to live off of me.
Yeah, but the thought wouldn't make you want to kill yourself, would it?
Oh, Casey, why you gotta be so dramatic? Of course not.
Tell me, Ernie, what makes guys want to get away?
Oh, a name, usually. But I see them fly away from one and go right to another, leaving all their worldly goods behind them.
That's kind of costly, isn't it?
Yeah. Dames are costly. Now, if it was me now, I'd try to get the dame to fly away and leave my worldly goods to me.
Yeah. What?
I say it'd pay a fella better if he could get the dame to fly away and leave the worldly goods to you.
Ernie, I think you got something there. Yeah, thanks.
Five Little Peppers and How They Grew has got me puzzled. I'm in the 4th chapter already, and they ain't even started to spade the ground up.
Hey, come on, Ann. I suddenly got a hunch.
Hey, where are we going?
Home. But tomorrow, we're going back and have another look at Uncle Robert K. Hampton.
You may come in now.
Thank you.
This is Mr. Robert K. Hampton. Miss Williams, Mr. Casey.
Yes, we've met before, briefly.
How do you do? Well, this is the young lady who was so startled yesterday when she first saw me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hampton. It was just that you looked so much
I know. You were struck by my resemblance to my nephew.
Yes.
Well, I don't blame you. You know, I never realized how much he'd got to look like me until I arrived and saw his picture here.
Yes, it is a striking resemblance, sir. Your hair is gray instead of brown.
And, of course, he had a mustache.
Yeah, but anyone would take you for brothers otherwise.
I think they're quite different.
Well, after all, there were only 7 years difference in our ages. I was just a kid when my brother's son, John, was born.
Yeah, we were very sorry about what happened to your nephew, Mr. Hampton. These things are always kind of tough to take.
Yes, they are. But, of course, it wasn't entirely unexpected. You know, I thought John would probably come to some violent end. Why, even as a kid, he was always keyed up. Couldn't relax. He should have taken things easier. Now look at me. I spent my youth bumming around the world. Never made much, but I had fun and got along. Then I found a spot where life was pleasant, and I settled down.
Where was that?
Jurang Island, near Borneo. Paradise. Simply paradise. That is, until the Japs came along. Then I somehow managed to get out. Just by the skin of my teeth, too.
Exciting.
Yes. Now, well, here I am. You see, everything worked out pretty well.
Yes, thanks to John Hampton, who spent his whole life...
You were saying?
I'm sorry, Mr. Hampton.
Do you mind if I take some pictures, Mr. Hampton? My paper wants to run a feature on you and your nephew. You know, your vastly different lives and activities. You know, the Hampton who traveled the earth and the Hampton who stayed at home.
That's rather a good idea, Mr. Casey. Where would you like me to? Beside this picture of John?
No.
Great.
Sorry.
Yes, I would if you don't mind. Let's try behind the desk there.
All right. How's this?
You'll pardon me, Mr. Hampton, but your hair's a little mussed. You know, with such striking gray hair as you have, you ought to have it looking its best.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't move. Miss Williams will arrange it.
Oh, all right.
Have you got a comb, Ann?
There's one right here in my bag. Now, just a second. There you are.
Thank you.
Fine, that's it. Now, Mr. Hampton, hold it.
want another?
I'm sure that one picture should be enough.
Miss Gray, if you please.
Well, we'll take one more. Just one more for good luck. Now, hold that just as you are, right there. Thank you.
Oh, but I'm afraid I'm in that one, too. Your camera was pointed right at me.
Well, we'll see when they're developed. Thank you both very much.
Thank you. You know, Mr. Casey, I'm somewhat of a camera fan myself.
No, that's so?
Yes, taken pictures all my life. I have some beautiful shots of Shirang Island. I was wondering if perhaps you couldn't print them along with the feature on my nephew and me. Not that I would want to monopolize the story, of course, no. But I only thought it might set off the differences in us. More dramatically. You know, give it a little added color.
Yeah, sure. Sure, that might be an angle. Let's see the pictures.
Yes, well, I have a few small ones in my wallet here.
Uh-huh.
The Japs got most of my stuff, of course.
Oh, yes, I can imagine.
Let me see now. Yes, here's a nice shot. Mount Tonamau.
Oh. Hey, look at this, Anne.
Beautiful.
And this is a view of my backyard, so to speak, looking north.
Is that you and Hammett?
Yes, that's me. I used the self-timer. Set it and then ran and got into the picture. Used a flexo camera with f3.5 lens at 1/20th of a second.
Oh, it's not bad. What's this one?
That's me again. Same trick. That was taken from the front porch.
Looking south?
Yes.
That's lovely country. Looks almost like a stage setting.
I think perhaps we're boring these people, Mr. Hampton.
Yes, I'm afraid we are.
No, really, not at all. I'd like to use these pictures. They're exceptional shots.
And pictures always dress up a feature.
Well, all right. But you will be careful to return them to me, won't you? They're the only prints I have, and I treasure them beyond words.
Don't worry. I'll treat them with kid gloves.
Thank you, Mr. Casey.
Well, that's all right. Now, I think we better be pushing off. Time and deadlines wait for no man.
And no woman either. We're happy to meet you, Mr. Hampton, and we hope that you like it here.
I think I shall. Take good care of the pictures.
Right. Look for them in the Morning Express.
Fine, thank you. Goodbye. I don't like that young man. He's too clever.
Now, darling, take it easy. After all, he's only a newspaper photographer.
Are you sure this article on you is a good idea?
Of course. We'll need it. Why do you think I went to all that work to get those pictures? The public must be convinced, too. Now, don't worry, my dear. There'll be no slip-up.
There better hadn't be. Not after 11 years of planning and waiting.
Now that those people have the pictures, I'll set fire to the evidence.
You mean burn the negatives?
There are little fires and big fires.
Oh. You mean...
Yes. Tomorrow night, a nice big fire.
Let's see that negative, eh?
Here you are. Yes, sir. That I call a nice layout.
Yeah. Pictures look pretty good, huh?
My article's all right, too.
You know, someday I must teach you how to read.
Yeah. Say, these of Shirang Island came out really bright and clear, didn't they? Hey, Ann, look at this.
What?
You notice anything strange about those two shots taken in Hampton's front and backyard?
No.
Well, I do. Look. Look at this bank of clouds here. It looks sort of like a face, doesn't it?
Oh, sure. It looks like my Aunt Sophie.
Now, quit clowning. Look at it close.
I'm looking.
Well, now, that's supposed to be a view looking north.
That's right.
Well, here's exactly the same formation in a view looking south.
Well, that's queer.
Queer. It's a physical impossibility. There haven't been two cloud formations exactly alike since the first day of creation.
Well, then these scenes were fake.
Yeah, they were beautifully fake. You know, I thought Hampton froze a little when you made that crack.
Which crack?
About those pictures looking almost like a stage setting. No, Annie, Hampton gave us these pictures for the paper for a reason. He wants everyone to see them. He wants everyone to think that he has lived all these years miles away from here. And that he arrived here just in time to have a pot of gold fall into his lap.
Oh, that's a little too neat, isn't it?
Yeah, these pictures are all he's got to prove he wasn't here all the time.
Well, if he was here, how do we know he didn't murder John Hampton? He had the motive, all right. The will gives him everything.
Yeah, and right under John Hampton's feet. Hey, who said something like that? Ernie. That's right, me and my shadow. Annie, I think I got it. Quick, let me look at your comb.
Well, sure, Casey. Well, here, but what on earth's in there?
Hey, wait a minute. Here, look at this. A hair. A lone gray hair. I gotta take this down to Logan and have him run some tests on it. I'll see you back here in about an hour.
Well, here are your pictures of Hampton, the ones we didn't print.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to check on them. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Look, Bert. This one of Hampton with Miss Gray in the background. You see this?
Yeah. And what a sugar-coated look she's got on her portrait.
Hey, let me see.
Don't she look like a mother whose son has just been made president of his class or something?
She in love with this guy?
Of course not.
You sure, Ann?
Well, she just met him.
Uh-huh. You swore she was in love with her boss.
That's right, and a woman like that couldn't be in love with two men.
Why not?
Because she's the perfect one-man-woman type.
Uh-huh. That's all I wanted to hear. I got a theory on this case, and this just about puts a pin on it. Come on.
Hey, where are we going?
We got a little job of breaking and entering to do. We're going to crash the deserted studio of the Aristocrat Film Company. I think I've just about got it.
Isn't this a tiny little bit illegal?
I can fix that with Logan. He and I are just like that. There we are. Come on, we got to work fast.
Oh, spooky, isn't it?
Where did I light a match? See any light switches around here?
Wait a minute. Here's one.
That's better. Oh, so this is the Aristocrat movie studio, huh?
And a fine place to bring a young girl in the dead of night.
Annie, you see those crates over there?
Yeah.
I'll bet you 10 to 1 they're full of prop palms, grass mats, and tropical foliage. Let's see.
All right. Mr. Casey, your intuition is appalling. I'm glad I didn't cover that bit.
Uh-huh. Artificial flowers, trees, rocks, leaves. Everything you need to build up a nice little South Sea Island setting right here.
Uh-huh. You mean Hampton could have sneaked in here alone, arranged a beautiful little tropic setting, and taken pictures all over the place?
Not only could have, he did, with a self-timer. And by changing the bushes and foliage around, he got the so-called view from his front porch and the one from his back porch.
Well, where's the sky with a funny cloud formation?
It's hanging right over your head. Look up.
All those big hanging things?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those. Those are backgrounds, you see, held up there by these ropes tied right here.
Oh, which, these?
Hey, look out! You want to kill us both? You pull that knot and all those heavy drops that crash down on our heads.
Oh, sorry. I only thought you might want to get them down to see if you could find the one with the cloud.
Yeah, but we'll have to snub the rope around this peg and have to drop down gradually. Those things are heavy.
Put your hands up, Casey.
Hampton.
He's got a gun.
You too, Miss Williams.
Oh, yes, sir.
You seem surprised to see me, Mr. Casey. Why? You forget that I own this studio now? It's rather I who should be surprised. What are you doing here?
We're looking for Churang Island. And you?
I came to burn this place down. For a reason that you may have already surmised.
Yeah. You didn't want anyone to find out where you made those phony pictures, did you?
No, and I don't want you to tell them. And you won't if you and your charming lady friend should get trapped here and cremate them.
There's rather an ugly name for that. Murder.
A murder is not a murder until it's proven so. But before I kill you, I want you to tell me something.
Yes, I expected that. Most murderers are very cautious to know where they slipped up. All right, I'll tell you, Mr. John Hampton.
Oh. You guessed that, too.
Of course. You're not Robert K. Hampton. There never was any Robert K. Hampton. You never fled from the Japs on Churang Island. You picked that place because it would be impossible to check your story. This whole thing was arranged between you and Miss Matilda Gray. You planned this for years and been in love with her for years.
Go on.
You drew your will to a fictitious uncle and probably faked up enough credentials so that you could appear to be that uncle.
And then when the time came, all you had to do was drug your wife, put her in a helicopter.
There was just enough fuel to get over the ocean and set the controls and let her go.
Don't you think the plan was clever?
Fiendishly clever. And it was clever of you to spend 10 years working out your disguise. Most criminals try to change their identity by putting on a disguise. You achieved a change by taking one off. One you'd worn for 10 years. You shaved your mustache, bleached the dye out of your hair, and then came down here and took a few pictures of yourself in a tropical setting. Then, the very next day, you turned up as the long-lost uncle, inheriting all your own money and in a position to marry Miss Matilda Gray.
I fooled everyone but you, Mr. Casey. Tell me, why did you suspect me?
Well, being a photographer, maybe I looked too closely at your pictures. And you made the mistake of using the same sky in all of them.
Oh. Clever of you to notice it.
Oh, you slipped up on one other little thing, too. Your hair. Remember when I combed it for you, Miss Hampton?
Yes, under the police microscope, a strand of your hair still showed traces of brown dye.
It's those little things, Mr. Hampton.
Perhaps. And then, of course, you should never have let me get a picture of Matilda Gray off guard. For although she treated you badly and seemed to hate you, her love showed up in the face as plainly as though it were written there.
Very interesting.
And as Anne told me, a woman like Matilda Gray couldn't love two men. It turned out she didn't. Both men were you.
Quite right. Now, before you have a chance to turn this story over to the police, I'm afraid I shall have to shoot you both.
I wonder if you'd mind shooting me first. The sight of blood, you know.
You can't afford to joke, Miss Williams.
Oh, no. I don't want to be too near. May I stand over there by those ropes?
Wherever you wish.
Thank you.
Good girl, Annie. Good girl. Boy, that suited it. Okay. I got his gun. Wow, that drop sure beat him.
Is he breathing?
Yeah. But he won't know it for an hour or so. Gee, kid, nice going.
Well, darling, you told me not to pull that knot and...
Annie, this was an inspiration. I could just about kiss you.
Oh, so I've got to save your life to deserve one stingy little kiss.
Well, boys and girls, day of days. The drinks are on first.
Now, wait a minute, Casey. My bet was with you. You can't do this to me.
Can't I, though? Hi, Ethelbert.
Hi, Casey. Miss Williams. Well, Mr. Burke, this is a surprise.
Yes, well,
Burke's buying the drinks, Ethelbert.
Well, what'll it be?
Hello, Ethelbert.
Oh, hello, Grace. What'll it be, Miss Williams?
Double martini.
A double?
2 olives.
And the usual for me. A double.
Now, wait a minute, Casey.
And a double scotch for Ernie at the piano, too.
Hey, go easy, Casey.
One for his shadow, yeah. And one for you, Ethelbert, and a double for Grace.
Hey, Casey.
And see what the boys in the back room will have, too.
And what would you like, Mr. Burke?
Oh, please, Ethelbert. How much is sarsaparilla?
Well, as Carrie Nation once said, quote, he who partakes only of nature's liquor has the pleasure of remaining sober and paying the checks, unquote.
You've been listening to Casey, Press Photographer, played by Stotts Cotsworth, a new series of adventure programs based on the fictional character created by George Harmon Cox. Casey, Press Photographer is directed by Albert Ward and produced for Columbia by John Deep. Tonight's story was written by Charles Holden. Join us again next week at the same time for another swift-moving story of Casey, Press Photographer. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And now, This I Believe, a series of living philosophies presented in the hope they may help to strengthen and enrich your life. Here is Edward R. Murrow.
This I believe. Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan is the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan. A lawyer, scholar, and statesman, he is one of the most distinguished of Muslims, and is particularly known for his religious fervor. He was president of the All India Muslim League in 1931, leader of the Indian delegation to the League of Nations Assembly in 1939, and more recently, leader of the Pakistan delegation to the United Nations. Here now are the beliefs of Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan.
Islam means peace through submission to the will of God. I am a Muslim, that is, one who believes in Islam and hence submits himself to the will of God. I believe that all things proceed from God and depend upon Him for support and sustenance. I believe He needs no support. He neither begets nor is begotten. He has no partner and no equal. I believe in God's angels as the agency through which He communicates with His creatures. And I believe that from time to time, revelations from God have been delivered for the guidance of mankind. I believe in all of God's prophets, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace, was the last law-bearing prophet. I believe Jesus did not die upon the cross, but was taken down from the cross and revived. Thereafter, he journeyed eastward, preaching to the scattered tribes of Israel, and died in Kashmir, where his tomb is still preserved in Srinagar. I believe that subordinate prophets will continue to arise in Islam when mankind strays from the path of righteousness and needs divine revelation. It is necessary that, as the pattern of human life develops, mankind should have a living example set before them of a life utterly pure and devoted to the service of God and man. I believe in the resurrection of the soul and the life after death. I believe that the object of man's existence is to seek union with God through the cultivation of divine attributes in himself. I believe that man has been endowed for this purpose with appropriate capacities and faculties. The right and proper use of these capacities and faculties promotes beneficent development and leads to the state known as salvation. I believe in the brotherhood and equality of man. I recognize no division or privilege based on race, color, family, or wealth. The only badge of honor and nobility that I recognize is the purity and righteousness of a man's life. My life is guided by this faith and by the following rules. Whenever I feel lonely, weary, or discouraged, I must turn towards God for companionship, comfort, and help. He is ever near and will not fail me. I must make my heart His shrine and temple, and let Him ever dwell in it in sweet guardianship and companionship. I must stand up for truth, righteousness, fair dealing, and justice. I must stand with God, though I may have to stand against the whole world. And I believe the love and fear of God are the sum of all wisdom.
Those were the beliefs of Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan, Foreign Minister of Pakistan.
Crime does not pay.
They're going to give it to you, Spielder. I know they are.
That's the thanks I get. Am I your lawyer or ain't I?
Sure you are.
And do I do the worrying or don't I? What's a mouthpiece for? To do the worrying. Take the headache.
Yeah, I do for a bellyache. From lead or an ice pick.
Cut it out. Never.
Do something for me, Spieler. Will you, huh?
Sure, Charlie. Natch. What?
Make him give me the rope. I'll black out first thing. I'll never feel nothing. That's the easy way. Make him do it that way, Spieler. Make him. You got it. That's all you got it.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Kangaroo Court, starring Richard Durr. Crime Does Not Pay, starring Richard Durr as Charlie the Traveler Thompson in Kangaroo Court. Organized crime is a vast hierarchy, from the remote leaders on the top down through the district bosses to the everyday hoodlums at the bottom. Any organization as huge as this must be governed by law. There is law in organized crime, organized law with a code, with lawyers, courts, judges, and executioners. Punishment follows conviction swiftly, certainly. Charlie the Traveler Thompson knew the law of this underworld in which he lived, but the night Charlie and his best pal, Jack Spieler Riley, visited the store on the corner of 6th and Main, the law was far from Charlie's mind.
You sure this is the joint, Charlie?
Sure as I know my name.
This rat trap don't look like nothing Ernie'd be interested in.
Wait. The old man will be out in a minute. He lives in the back.
Anything you say, buddy.
Yes, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
Well, for one thing, you can open the cash register.
Please, I'm an old man. I have so little money.
Well, I should slug him now or later, Charlie.
No, please, wait. I opened the register.
Okay, Spieler, empty the till while I keep him covered.
Chicken feed. What a nickel joint this is. Okay, I got it.
All week I work for what is in that drawer.
Save it. I'll show it the board on the floor in the back room.
The board in the floor?
You heard me. Give out.
Now I get it.
There is no board in the...
You want more? Start moving.
I have nothing.
Cut it. The boss knows this joint. He knows what's been going on here for years.
I have nothing.
I'm sick of hearing you whine. Go to work, Spieler.
It's about time. Now take your medicine, Foxy Grandpa, and talk one way or the other.
No, don't hit me. Not with a blackjack. No, don't hit me.
Back room, Spieler. Count 3 boards from the right-hand wall.
Got it. Hey, it's loose.
You betcha it's loose.
Crying out loud. Look at that roll.
Yeah, the old boy didn't believe in banks. He's got 2 houses he rents up on the west side. Ernie says there must be 25 G's in that roll. Had the joint cased. Let's go.
Right.
Come on, Spieler. Let the old bum alone.
He ain't breathing. Must be dead.
Okay, so what? So you hit him too hard. Let's roll. He don't need his dough no more.
A good job, boys. Too bad you had to kill the old boy, though. He was a real character.
He lived too long anyway. He wasn't having any fun.
Except maybe counting his kale, right, Ernie?
Could be. Some of these cops have a way of getting fond of bums like that.
Heat on, boss?
Not exactly. Nobody knew about the roll except the old man and us. Even the cops know he never had much in the register from the papers and sodas.
Oh, it's okay then, huh?
If you left the place clean.
Sure we did. Wore gloves the whole time.
Yeah, I told Spieler he shouldn't get no splinters from the floor. He didn't know what I was talking about till I told him to pry up that floorboard. Everything's copacetic then, Ernie?
Sure there were no slips?
Positive.
Absolutely.
Okay, then in about 5 years, the Sunday papers will run the story of the dead soda jerk. Another unsolved crime.
Well, what's next, boss?
Nothing urgent.
Good. You know, I think maybe a change of climate would do me good.
What, again?
Yeah, I ain't never seen California.
Charlie the Traveler. What could you do in California you can't do here?
Get a sunburn in February. Okay, Ernie?
Sure, only why not Florida?
Oh, I was in Florida last year. I want to see if the California oranges is better.
Oranges or tomatoes, Charlie?
No, oranges. Tomatoes is all alike any place. Yeah?
Charlie Thompson?
Talking.
This is Joe Walker.
California Walker?
Nobody else but. Want to see you, Charlie. When can you come over?
Anytime you say. Glad you called. I've been wondering when some of the boys would say, welcome to sunny Cal.
Welcome to sunny Cal, huh? How about 3 this afternoon?
Sounds great.
Good.
My place is on the Sunset Strip. You can't miss it. It's called Joe's Place. Neon's 10 feet high.
I'll be there. See you later, Joey boy. Quite a layout you got here, Joe.
Well, nothing better. You know Cash Liggett?
Hi, Cash.
Hi.
Fellas, this is a place for a vacation. Another 2 days and I'll join the local Chamber of Commerce.
Good. Glad you like it. Well, Charlie, I have a job for you.
Me? Oh, nix. I'm on a vacation.
Now, it needs your slick touch, traveler.
Yeah, pineapple job.
Look, fellas, I'm on vacation.
And when you're in my territory, you take orders from me. You know the law.
Sure, same like I was back in Ernie's district. Then he's got control over me.
But I need a rest. I've been working all year.
Yeah, one job will just keep you in training.
I don't want it.
Well, you'll do it. That's an order. We need a guy from out of town. And you're it. You understand?
Okay. Don't get sore. Where and when?
Tonight's as good as any.
I'll have to borrow a piece. I didn't bring no tools for a vacation.
Cash?
We got a dozen. One'll do the trick.
What about a car?
We got a Butte. Cash stole the day before yesterday.
Is it that hot?
And it won't be missed too much. Owner has 2 others. So it's all gassed up and waiting. Take him over to see it, Cash. And if he's a good boy and does his job right, maybe we'll let him drive it back east. Think of the plane fare you'll save. Charlie, my boy.
This bus stolen, too?
No. Registered, all legal and proper in Joe's name.
Good. I'm always a little nervous riding a hot car in broad daylight.
We got so many cars out here, nobody notices. Once in a while, some rookie cop will try to make a name for himself, but that's about all.
Much farther to your drop?
Drop?
Where you got the car for me?
Oh, next block, after the traffic light.
I don't see nothing but a parking lot.
Nothing else to see. We don't have to worry about freezing radiators out here.
Ain't you taking an awful chance? What about the plates?
We don't worry about details like that. All right, come on, let's go, chum. I got the parking ticket, and after you drive her out, I'll take this one back to the boss.
I'm with you.
You see, you gotta learn how we operate. No sense fooling with fancy plans around here.
So I see.
Good afternoon. Come for your car, gentlemen? Right. We left it here a couple of days ago for safekeeping. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your ticket, please. Well, what'd you do? Change your system? You used to ask for the tickets as we drove out.
Yes. Watch yourself, Cash.
Well, here's the ticket, son. Thank you. If you'll take your car, I'll stamp the ticket, and you can pay me as you leave. That's our new system, sir. It won't delay you.
I don't like it, Cash. The car's renew the ticket. There's somebody watching us from the gatehouse.
Hey, the car's gone. It was a 46 Caddy. I left it over there.
Damn, Cash. It's cops in the gatehouse waiting for us to move further inside.
Yeah. Well, the lousy brakes.
See, coffee, stop him!
What's this part of the bus? Set a trap. Come on, get in the car, quick.
Oh, brother. I ain't run like that since the last time I swiped apples from a fruit dealer back home.
Lose ourselves in traffic. They'll never catch us, and they won't dare shoot.
Won't they?
Well, once I hit the boulevard. Now, hang on. Here we go. Now, all we got to watch out for is red lights and traffic cops.
Phew. What close?
Well, I'm sorry, Charlie. Thing like this hasn't happened in years.
Yeah. Believe me, Cash, it never happens back east.
We'll get you another car, Charlie. Now, don't worry about that.
Yeah, I know. You got a million of them.
Cut that out, will you?
Well, why should I risk my neck? And on my vacation, too.
Okay, wise guy. How would you do it?
Well, first I'd get a drop.
What is this drop thing? You said that before.
A small private garage outside town's best.
Go on.
Then I'd swipe the car and stash it in the drop for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and then?
Then I'd swipe the plates on Monday from a weekend driver's bus someplace, put them on the hot car, and drive any place I please for 5 days, and nobody'd know the difference. Oh.
Fancy, ain't they, back east? Hey, boss?
Yeah. We lead a simple life out here. We'll get your car, give you the rod and a pineapple. You'll do the job, Thompson. Our way.
You got another thing coming, Walt. Not me.
You want me to bash him, boss?
No. You'll do it. Let him yell first.
I'm getting the next plane back east.
Don't try it, Thompson. You know the law.
So what?
So plenty. You walk out on me, you'll never get away with it.
Won't I? I'm walking, ain't I? And I don't see nobody trying to stop me, neither.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Kangaroo Court. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Richard Durr in Kangaroo Court. Charlie the Traveler headed straight for the airport from Joe's place with its big 10-foot neon sign and took the first plane possible for the east, a ruined vacation behind him. Charlie knew there might be trouble ahead, so he holed up quietly and advised only his pal, Jack the Spieler, of his exact whereabouts.
Who is it?
Me, Spieler. Let me in, Charlie.
Anybody with you?
No, of course not. Let me in, will you?
Okay. Hold everything.
Hey, why all the bolts and stuff? You afraid of mice, friend?
No, of lice. From out west.
Didn't think you were afraid of anything.
Sit down. That California Walker has a nasty temper. You can't tell that bum anything.
No, he wouldn't dare send anybody here to get you. Not unless it was all legal.
He might. What's new in town?
Well, not much. Except you're in Dutch. Upstairs.
With Ernie? I didn't do nothing to him.
Oh, not Ernie, especially.
Look, pal, what are you trying to tell me?
Well, here it is. Straight. Ernie told me to bring you in.
Bring me in? What for?
How should I know? I don't ask questions. I do like I'm told.
Yeah, I know.
Well, get your coat, fella. We're going downtown. Hey, get that. Me making noises just like a cop.
Have a nice vacation, Charlie?
It was good. And lousy.
You came back awful fast.
I didn't like the people at that resort.
They don't like you either.
That squares everything, then.
Only it doesn't.
Why not?
Because you broke the law, that's why. Because you had to be a wise guy and tell a district boss how to run his business. Because when he wouldn't let you do things your way, you ran out on him.
They're nuts out there, honest, Ernie, nuts. The way they tried to do things.
Makes no difference. You refused an order from the boss in whose territory you were operating.
I was on vacation, you know that.
I'm told you disobeyed orders. You broke the law. You're up on charges, Charlie.
Me? On charges?
At last, something's penetrated your thick skull. Now get this. Spieler here's your lawyer. He'll defend you. Joe Walker's coming on to press the charge himself. Rick Carson is coming in from Chicago, Phil Jackson from Pittsburgh, Mike Davis from Boston, Bill Kenoy from Louisville, and Don Welch from Cleveland. The five of them and myself are the judges, Charlie. The trial is set for 1 week from Tuesday. All right, Walker. Is that your evidence?
That's it. And that's all I need.
Any questions from the court?
If I may, Ernie?
Of course, Rick.
What penalty do you want if we convict Thompson, Joe?
Nobody crosses me that way. I want a cement jacket on him.
You're pretty rough, aren't you?
That was my grievance, Carson. What would you do if he behaved this way in Chicago?
All right, no further questions.
Anybody else? All right, Walker, sum up your case.
But the summations don't take place until the defense witnesses speak their pieces.
You're rather familiar with court procedure, aren't you, Walker?
Yeah, what if I am?
Never mind. Only we set the procedure here. Start your summation.
May it please the court. I want this man, Charlie Thompson. I intend to have him. You heard my witness. Cash Liggett was present in my office when the defendant refused an order. More, the defendant deliberately walked out of my office and out of my territory in direct contradiction to my orders and completely against our law. The very fact that his counsel failed to cross-examine my witness is, well, to me at least, admission of guilt. Defense counsel knows that my witness is telling the exact truth. I ask this court to find the defendant guilty and suggest a sentence of death at the hands of the injured party.
The defense will proceed. All right, Speaker.
Thank you. Gentlemen of the court, I'm here in this job on account of being both Charlie Thompson's best pal and a fellow who knows the circumstances of the case. Let me say from the beginning that, first of all, I didn't call no witness for the defense on account of the fact that the only such witness is dead. Thanks, boss. But more about that a little later. Second of all, I didn't waste your time and mine cross-examining the Cash Liggett on account of if he's telling the truth, he'll stick to what he says. And if he's lying, he'll stick to what he says.
No joke, Spieler.
It's no joke, boss. Not to Charlie, it isn't. But to get on with the case. It's a fact that my client went out to the coast for a vacation. While he was there, he tried to obey the orders of Mr. Walker. But it's a fact, too, that he almost got a dose of lead when the operations of the prosecution witness led him right into a trap the cops set over a hot car.
Is this true, Riley?
So help me, it's the truth. And after it happened, only after it happened, my client tried to show Mr. Walker a safe way to operate. The way the defendant has been operating for a long time. But no, Mr. Walker wanted it all done his way, and the defendant felt he had to refuse.
Are you admitting guilt, Counselor?
Yes and no, Mr. Carson.
That's a really legal answer. You should have been a lawyer.
They don't call me the Spieler for nothing, Mr. Carson.
Get on with it, Spieler.
Yes, boss. Now let me say this. The defendant would never have walked out and probably would never have refused the orders if he hadn't been under a terrible mental strain. You see, there's outside things in this case that Mr. Walker don't know about. What he don't know and what you don't know is that just that morning, the defendant, he had a telegram from home. His old mother was dying. She's the dead witness I spoke about, gentlemen. Because when Charlie Thompson walked out of Mr. Walker's place, he went straight to the airport, flew straight home, and had the final satisfaction of making his mother happy in her last moments on this here earth. Yeah, sure. My client acted out of turn, but he had a reason. And this is the truth, gentlemen. And more, I'll promise you myself, if you let him off this time, that I'll see to it personal, that he toes the mark from here on in. Charlie's too good a man to dump in a river for one mistake outside his own district and when he was under such a terrible mental strain. That's our defense, gentlemen. That's all it is. The truth and a promise to obey in the future. Thank you for listening.
You're out too long, Spieler. Too long.
Don't mean nothing. They probably start a friendly game. Anyhow, when a legit jury is out like this, they're generally hung, and it's a new trial.
The only thing that's hung around here is going to be me. Get me a piece, Spieler. Get me a piece so I can get them before they get me.
Trouble is, if it's guilty, I'll have to do you. That's the law, Charlie.
Well, you wouldn't, Spieler. Not me. Not your pal. Think of the jobs we done together. You wouldn't. You couldn't.
When you're told, I got it. You'll understand, Charlie. Stop walking up and down like that. You act like you were stark crazy.
Yeah, I'm going nuts. Why don't they come out? Why don't they make up their minds? I gotta get out of here.
Sit down, will you, and shut up?
They're gonna get me to a Spieler. I know they are. Nobody ever gets off of one of these courts.
That's the thanks I get. Am I your lawyer or ain't I?
Sure, you
and
are.
Do I do the worrying or don't I? What's a mouthpiece for? To do the worrying. Take the headache.
I'm due for a bellyache. From lead or an ice pick.
Cut it out. Never.
Do something for me, Spieler. Will you, huh?
Sure, Charlie. Natch, what?
Make him give me the rope. I'll black out first thing. I'll never feel nothing. That's the easy way. Make him do it that way, Spieler. Make him. You got it. That's all you got it.
Cut it out, will you? Verdict ain't in yet. Jury's still out.
Yeah, some jury. The judges are the same guys.
Ernie will fight for you. You should have heard him take down Walker. Too bad the law don't let you hear your own trial.
It'll be 5-1 against Ernie. 5-1 against him. And me. 5-1. I'm going out, Spieler. I gotta get some air.
Don't try no run out now. They'll find you. You know that.
Will they, Spieler? No matter where, will they?
Don't try nothing smart, Charlie.
Just want some fresh air. That's all. I won't be long. You'll find me again, Spieler. I'll be back. If I stay here, I'll go altogether nuts. But I'll be back, Spieler. Don't worry.
Where's the defendant, Spieler?
Yeah, we rather like the idea of having him hear the verdict in person.
He's gone for a walk, gentlemen. But I'll represent him.
Well, get on with it. I want to catch a plane.
We're all leaving before night. All right, shall we go ahead, gentlemen?
Sure, Mr. Costa, you might as well. One way or the other, he'll find out.
Yeah, he'll find out.
As presiding judge of this court, it's my duty to announce the verdict. After due deliberation and taking into consideration the extenuating circumstances of the case, this court finds the defendant not guilty.
What? Yippee!
What was it, Spieler? What'd they get?
Not guilty. They found you.
I got off.
Get off this rap, Thompson, but your pals won't get off theirs. Cut it out, all of you. Don't try anything. We got enough Tommy guns to cut down a regiment.
What'd you do, Charlie? For the love of Pete, what'd you do?
I figured I was a gone pigeon, so I spilled my guts to the cops and brought him here.
Are you dirty, filthy? Shut up, you.
For that lousy stoolie, I saved his life.
If I'd only known. If you'd only come back sooner. It's your fault, not mine. I couldn't stand it. I just couldn't stand it.
All right, on your feet, all of you. The wagon's waiting.
And all the time it was not guilty. All the time it was not guilty. All the time it was not guilty.
Crime does not pay. Richard Durr, who was starred as Charlie Thompson in Kangaroo Court, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Richard Durr.
It is a fact that every organization must have a set of rules or laws by which its members are governed. And lawbreakers, even the underworld of organized crime, are tried and if found guilty are punished swiftly. The law is always upheld. But it is a fact as well that there's no reason to wait for the gangs to punish their own offenders or for informers to assist society in the administration of its own law. All decent citizens, once they make use of their free voices in civic affairs, can ensure that society's laws are upheld, and that crime of all kinds is punished, that in the end, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Richard Durr. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turkis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
This I believe. Sir Miles Thomas is chairman of the British Overseas Airways Corporation. He is something of a pioneer in aviation, having been commissioned an officer in the Flying Corps shortly after its formation in World War I. During his service in the Mesopotamian campaign, he was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. After the war, he held positions in the automotive industry and with the government, taking over the chairmanship of BOAC in 1949. He was knighted during World War II for his part in building up munitions production. This is what Sir Miles Thomas believes.
I was a lonely child. My father died when I was less than a year old, and without brothers or sisters, I lived largely in my own mind during the formative period of boyhood. Religion played a great part in the life of my young widowed mother. The high emotional natures of the mountain folk in Wales where we lived were illuminated with lovely singing and an almost mystical devotion. I was first enthralled, but as my questing mind hardened, I became embarrassed by this fervor into a state of furtive doubt. In middle youth, making early forays into simple chemistry and natural physics, I grew skeptical of the miracles of the Old Testament. How could Christ walking on the water square with the laws of Archimedes? Thus my mind became troubled. Was it irreligious and sinful to have these doubts? Was I becoming agnostic, even atheist? The fires of hell flared close in my uneasy dreams. Then came my initiation into airmanship in the Kaiser War. On the stick-and-string aeroplanes of those days, navigation was not very difficult, but we youngsters were taught about the celestial bodies. Gazing into the heavens one quiet, star-studded night, I suddenly realized that although I could readily understand that a star might be so many millions of miles away that even its light took years to reach me, I could not hope to comprehend the infinity of the dark blue spaces in between the stars. I realized then that the human mind is finite. There are certain things that we simply cannot grasp, and in that humility I rediscovered my full faith in the old religion. I believe it is best to accept as a fact that there are certain defined limitations to human understanding, and transcending this comprehension must be a sound faith in the power that created the world and all that therein is. In that creed is for me the basis of human relationship. And happiness entails a sense of humor. The penance of sackcloth and ashes is a good reminder not to repeat past misdeeds, and I believe in punishment that hurts, so that it is etched deep in the tablets of memory. But to take a delight in subjecting oneself, and inevitably those nearest to one with suppression and gloom in the name of religious fervor, is a negation of the animal joy of life that is born in all of us. I believe that as human knowledge progresses, we shall get nearer to understanding the hidden mysteries of Genesis and the creation. I believe that as man probes into the problems of nuclear physics, psychic research, the psychoanalysis of the mind, the higher forms of medical science, and the atomic phenomena, the sum of knowledge thus gained will converge to a common apex. When one flies in a modern jet airliner at 500 miles an hour, 8 miles above the surface of the earth, the deep-throated hum of the jet seems to me an overture to greater conquest of space. I revel in creative effort. The skill of a surgeon, the coordinated precision of a great orchestra, the planned economy of a highly mechanized production line, things like this thrill me with a sense of man's accomplishment. All these diverse achievements are an inspiration and a tonic, and the more we know of new discoveries, the more assurance we have of the Old Testaments. That I most profoundly believe.
There the creed of Sir Miles Thomas, chairman of the British Overseas Airways Corporation.
Calling all detectives. Serum antitoxins save thousands of lives. But I once had a case where life-saving serum was meant to kill a man. That is the situation on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. I, Jerry Browning, private detective, don't get sick very much. In fact, more doctors consult me than the other way around. Dr. Bowman closed the door of his private office and sat down heavily at his desk. A moment ago, he'd been the perfect picture of the grave doctor. Now, in the privacy of his office, Mr. Browning, somebody in my clinic is trying to murder me by means of anaphylaxis. Anna who? Dr. Bowman wasn't amused. Anaphylaxis isn't a person, Mr. Browning. It's a physiological phenomenon. Extreme and violent shock reaction. For example, if a guinea pig is injected with a harmless amount of certain tropical serums, that guinea pig becomes sensitized to it. Then, if within 10 to 14 days the animal is injected again with the same serum, anaphylaxis results. Within a few minutes, it dies. Wow. Now, let me get this straight, Doctor. Serums that protect a person, if injected a second time within a limited period, cause death? Certain rare serums, yes. Mr. Browning, as you know, I have recently returned from the Amazon, researching for the cause and cure of the dread leucosis plague. After 2 years of work, I have finally evolved this antitoxin. And now look. Dr. Bowman opened his desk drawer, took out a wicked-looking hypodermic syringe. Browning, somebody has made a human guinea pig out of me. Yesterday, when I went into the closet to change to my street clothes, I felt a pinprick, investigated, and found this needle attached to the wall where I had to bump into it. The needle was filled with leucosis plague antitoxin. If it happens again within the next 2 weeks, as sure as I'm sitting here, I am a doomed man. I was hired by a doctor to find out who was trying to murder him through repeated injections of a deadly tropical plague antitoxin. Dr. Bowman introduced me to his staff as being a pre-graduate worker compiling a report for a medical school journal. His staff consisted of 2 associate doctors, Ryder and Kaufman, and 2 employees, Miss Lang, the nurse, and Harry Brent, the lab technician.
Tell me, Mr. Browning, what do you think of the new Swedish discoveries in the field of paresthesis?
Dr. Kaufman, I approve of them, mostly. I got out of that one. I hoped. But when Brent, the lab technician, found me at the big refrigerator...
Get away from there, Browning. You should know better than to leave that door open. You'll ruin all the cultures and cerium there.
Well, I was just looking at the stock. Brent stared at me curiously.
Just what do you think this is? A clinic or a grocery store?
I couldn't answer that one and didn't try. After that, I kept out of the lab and spent most of my time in the anteroom studying Miss Lang. That was nice work. She was a neat little brunette, who certainly didn't look like a murderess. But then very few of them do. I checked into her background, found it conventional. She lived in a nurse's residence, had no special boyfriend, dated the lab technician Brent once in a while. Brent was one of those guys who hadn't been able to make the grade in medical school and shifted over to lab work. As for the 2 doctors, Kaufman was a widower, whose chief interest in life, apart from medicine, appeared to be chess. The other doctor, Ryder, was engaged to a society girl and spent all his free time with her. What did it all add up to? Nothing yet. I shifted my inquiry back to the clinic, observed the patients, watched the staff at work. On the 3rd day, I had another conference with Dr. Bowman. Anything yet, Browning? This tension is beginning to show on me. I'm afraid to make any sudden move, walk into a closet, turn a corner. Browning, I can't stand this much longer. Take it easy, Doc. I studied him. How would you like to go out of town for a couple of weeks, until the critical period of that serum shot you had wears off? Bowman shook his head. I thought of that, but it'll just happen again after I return. I nodded. Of course it will. We'll solve it, providing you don't lose your nerve. I promise. I won't lose my nerve anymore. I grinned at him. Now you're talking. Let's get back to this anaphylaxis business, this sensitivity to plague serums. Would an average patient know about a thing like that? I doubt it strongly. But I doubt it too. But I just wanted to make sure. That eliminates the patients at the clinic and means the potential killer is somebody on your staff. Doctors Kaufman and Ryder, your nurse, Miss Lang, or your lab technician, Harry Brent. I'm afraid you're right. Now what? Now we try some anaphylaxis of our own and watch what happens. I worked that afternoon with the staff until the last patient had left. Then, in that lull, while the staff was still assembled, I said, "You know, it's a funny thing, but many a guy who's afraid of being killed gets so nervous that he turns around and kills the other guy first." Kaufman turned on me.
Mr. Browning, what is the point of that profound observation?
Well, it's just something I happened to read in the papers. Dr. Ryder smiled coldly. "Browning, I suggest you confine your reading to medical journals. Good day." I got no reactions from the nurse or the lab technician, but I didn't care. The thought had been planted. The next morning, as Dr. Kaufman was putting his coat away...
Confound those carpenters who leave nails sticking out of doors.
We started the morning's work. Then a couple of hours later, Dr. Ryder came dashing into the office.
Get me some iodine and a bandage, quickly!
Dr. Ryder's palm showed a tiny drop of blood from a pinprick, while Miss Lang ran for the iodine. What's the matter, Dr. Ryder? Cut yourself?
A pin sticking out of the corner of my desk. A man can get blood poisoning that way. Where's that girl with the iodine?
Well, that proved nothing. But in the lab that afternoon, Harry Brent was preparing a culture. I walked past him, and as I did, nudged him. Brent staggered back, brushed his elbow against the cabinet door, then jumped into the air.
I'm poisoned! I've been poisoned!
I grabbed Brent before he fell. You're dying. Bowman got you before you got him. Quick, tell me what it's all about, and I'll avenge you. Yeah. Anaphylaxis may be something I never heard of before, but the power of suggestion is old stuff to me. I had the whole story in less than a minute. Jealousy. Brent loved Miss Lang. She loved Bowman. So the lab technician decided to eliminate his rival in typical medical style. In another 5 minutes, Brent knew the whole thing was a fake. Of course, the hypo needle had nothing in it. But by then, he was on the way to jail. Like I said, when anybody plans murder, sooner or later he has to take a shot of his own medicine. Listen next time to Calling All Detectives. Mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, Private Detective.
That look in his eyes. Like a madman. He wants to kill me. Someone does. Like the other three, lying on the floor in a pool of blood. Almost 12 o'clock. It's night. Any minute now there'll be a ring. Or a knock.
Midnight. The witching hour when the night is darkest. Our fears the strongest. And our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in The Creeper. And now, Murder at Midnight. On this program, we bring you the best and most blood-curdling stories ever written. And so now we bring you a tale which you may have heard before. A tale which we consider a classic in terror and suspense. The Creeper, by Joseph Ruskall. In the kitchenette of the New York apartment, a man and his wife listened to the evening news broadcast.
New York. The unknown killer called the Creeper has struck again, adding a third female corpse to his toll. Virginia Peters, a comely waitress, was found strangled to death in her third-floor apartment early this morning while her radio blared. As in the previous murders, a note was found scrawled on the wall with the victim's lipstick, and the plea, "For heaven's sake, catch me before I kill more. I cannot control myself." Police insist...
Now, why'd you turn it off?
Oh, how awful, how awful. And in this very neighborhood.
Let's hear the rest. It's very interesting.
Oh, you... Don't go turning that radio on again, Steve Grant. Heard enough. I'll go out of my mind, for heaven's sake.
That's it. A good, solid clue.
What is?
For heaven's sake. How many men ever use that expression?
Oh, shut up.
Okay, Mrs. Grant. Pass the biscuits, my little pigeon.
Pass the biscuits. Eat. 3 women in 3 days murdered in cold blood by a mad fiend right here in Washington Heights. I'm too sick to go out, too scared to stay in. The lock's broke. He sits there eating. Pass the biscuits.
There's nothing wrong with my appetite, my love.
Of course. That's what cost you your job on the police force. When I even think of...
Some men drink to escape. I eat.
Escape what? What?
An ugly tongue, a beautiful face, and a roving eye. In short, a wife.
Oh, so you're starting that again. You and your crazy jealousy.
Yeah, maybe that's the Creeper's way of escaping, too, Georgia. Who knows?
Shut up. Go ahead and get a divorce. Go ahead. Can I help it if men look at me? I don't know why you come home at all. Where do you go? What do you do with yourself? Where were you this morning? Why'd you come back?
To eat. But someday I'll lose my appetite for that, too. And when I do, my dear, there'll be no escape. And now I'm off again. Kissed? Still using stage lipstick. Wipe it off. How many times must I tell you? You're married now, remember?
Steve, wait.
Yeah?
At least go buy my medicine.
Sorry, I got no time.
Don't leave me here alone. Stay home this evening. Please, I'm afraid.
Oh, don't be silly, pet. Nothing will happen to you. You got a doorman here, an elevator boy, Mrs. Stone across the hall, a phone. You're safe enough.
But the night lock, it doesn't work.
Oh, now you can't lock me out anymore.
It doesn't catch. Something's happened to it since last night. Steve.
Get a new one.
I can't get a locksmith. I've tried all day. Steve, please. If I want to phone you, where will you be?
Out. Goodbye. Take care of your cold. If it isn't old Pearly Chase, how are you?
Here you got thrown off the force, Steve.
Yeah, here you got thrown off the news, Pearly.
You heard wrong. I wasn't fired. I was just warned.
I wasn't fired either, just suspended for 3 days. Eating a lamb chop at Casey's when I should have been ringing in from the box at 162nd with all that trouble up there. On my way to headquarters now for reinstatement. I eat too much, my trouble is.
I drink too much. Hey, you're living up at the Heights, Steve.
Yeah.
That's funny, me too.
Huh?
Hey, you're married now to a beautiful and lovely young... with admiration.
Say it again.
I think I knew her. Wasn't her stage name Georgia Dixon?
Yeah, that's her. I love that wench, but... women. How does a guy handle them? You know, maybe the creeper has the right method.
Thank you for taking the words out of my mouth. Who's the creeper, Steve? Any angles?
You tell me, and I'll split the reward with you. Say, what do you think of Inspector Bradley's inside job theory?
Nuts. Every janitor's a creeper? And as for that doorman, Jim Ellis, just because he worked at 2 of the 3 murder apartments? Pure coincidence. Anyway, they've released him. One thing, though, and I don't think even Bradley's put it together yet.
Yeah?
In all 3 cases, just before the creeper struck, the door locks had already been tampered with.
You don't say.
You got a theory?
Well, sure. I mean, you take that note on the wall. For heaven's sake, in every case, for heaven's sake, catch me before I kill more.
I cannot control myself.
Right.
Oh.
Now, what man uses an expression like that? You want the lowdown? It's just this. A creeper is a woman.
A gimmick, huh?
Yeah.
Like the height of the message from the floor is a trick, 6 feet. And yet I'll lay odds the creeper's no more than a guy your height, say, or mine. 5'9", just like us, you or me. Only crazy.
Yeah, how do you figure that?
How do I figure lots of things? How do I know where the creeper's going to strike next?
You do?
Certainly. The creeper's not so smart, he's just crazy. You play along crazy and you're one jump ahead of him. That's the trouble with Inspector Bradley. Why, he's up a tree. You expect logical clues from a madman? You play along crazy, make out you're the creeper. And what do you get?
Well, go ahead, let's see.
All right, the victims are all redheads, every one. You've noticed that, of course. 3 in 3 days?
Yeah, now that you mention
They
it.
all lived in the Heights, right? Agnes Martin, Jane Krutsky, Virginia Peters?
Right.
What was the number of the apartment in each case? Agnes lived in 1A, Jane 2B, Virginia 3C. Don't ask me the why or wherefore. Don't ask me the logic. Just play along crazy. See what I mean? Where's he going to strike next?
Huh? I don't get you.
The next victim of the creeper also lives in the Heights. She's a redhead. Her night lock's been tampered with. She's going to get hers today, and her apartment number's 4D. Well, why are you looking at me? Don't you like my arithmetic?
Pearly, my wife's a redhead. We live in the Heights, and our apartment number is... You're just a boozy reporter.
Your apartment number?
4D, I told you.
4D, of course. It's pretty late, but I'll have it delivered. I was busy admiring your lipstick, Mrs. Grant. I've nothing like it in stock. 4D, I should have guessed it anyway.
Why?
Well, a face is a number. Believe me, since you've moved into the neighborhood, Mrs. Grant, for me it has a special number, like Double Dandy Delicious Dream. 4Ds, you see?
Go on. Bet you tell that to every customer. Female.
I'm a ladies' man? Like the creeper? What did I say? What's going on in this block? Raw nerves, you can't joke. The creeper, that's all I hear all day. It's mass hysteria. There ain't such an animal.
You don't think so?
I assure you, Mrs. Grant, it's a fairy tale for circulation of the tabloids. I'll send your prescription up with the boy.
No, I'll just wait here for it.
Well, it'll take some time. You should go right home and stay there if you're just getting over the flu. I'll tell you what. I'll deliver it myself. It'll be a pleasure.
No, I'll wait. I may not go right back. I don't want to be there alone. I'm afraid.
Very well. Suit yourself. Have a seat. For heaven's sake, stop me before I kill you.
What?
I cannot control my... Wait, I was only joking, Mrs. Grant. Wait, Mrs. Grant, your prescription.
Mrs. Stone.
Why, yes. What's your hurry here?
I just got such a scare since these awful murders in this neighborhood.
Yes, isn't it terrible? I'm simply frightened to death myself. You walking home?
Yeah, I guess so.
But I'll go with you. It's good we live in the same house.
At least if I had a double lock, but the night one doesn't work.
Oh, really? Well, I have a chain lock besides, and still...
The way it is, I sit and shiver when there's a sound at the door. Can't get a locksmith. Tried all day, but they're all so busy. Mr. Frank on the corner promised to, but didn't know when. Why are they all so busy?
Well, my dear, because every woman in the neighborhood's changing theirs, too. Simply a nightmare. Oh, but don't you worry. We'll stay together this evening. Mr. Stone's out, too. Think of it, we've never visited, though we live right across the hall from each other. Isn't that like a big city, for heaven's sake? Or would you rather I dropped in on you?
Well, I don't know.
Well, make it your place, then. Isn't it horrible, the ghastly things they're saying? The theories one doesn't know what to think next. You believe the latest?
The latest?
That maybe it's a woman, the creeper? A woman? Can you beat it? I just can't imagine how in the world the police figure that, for heaven's sakes. Can you? I say, can you, Miss Grant?
I don't know. I was just thinking of something my husband...
Though I can see where a married woman now, if her husband was faithless, well, I can understand such a theory, because they take my husband now. You've met Mr. Stone, haven't you? Well, Mrs. Grant, why on earth you're staring at me like that, for heaven's sake?
I don't feel well. I must get home. I feel faint.
But Mrs. Grant, for heaven's sake.
Sobbing with terror, a woman with red hair runs up the dark street, back to her apartment and the door with the broken lock. As the hands of the clock move on towards 12 o'clock and... Murder at midnight. And now, back to Murder at Midnight and The Creeper. Back to Georgia Grant, hurrying hysterically through the dark streets towards the apartment with the broken lock on the door.
Good evening, ma'am. Out late, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, you're the new doorman?
Just relieving Charlie. Nice night.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Here, let me ring the elevator for you.
No, you don't have to trouble.
No trouble, ma'am. There. Apartment 4D, huh?
Yeah. How did you know?
Doesn't take long.
When will this elevator come?
Coming now. Terrible things, ma'am. The happenings.
What?
The creeper. It's
Going up?
Yeah.
Up and down, up and down. The ups and downs of life, that's me. I'm a living milkshake, Mrs. Grant. Uh-oh.
What's wrong, Jimmy?
Stuck. Imagine getting stuck between the third and fourth with a production like you.
Get going, Sonny. Want me to report you?
Okay. Can't you take a joke? Maybe I misconstrued that smile you always give me. Maybe you shouldn't ought to smile that way. Fourth floor.
Let me out.
If I drop in later, will you be more receptive?
Oh, home. Oh, thank goodness. Must be going out of my mind. Key. Where's my key? Darn this lock. Darn the lock. Hello. Is the locksmith in yet? Well, I want to know how soon I can get my lock changed. Yes, I know it's late, but he promised. This is Mrs. Grant. Yes, 4D, yes. I know you just explained to me, but I must...
Georgia?
Yes? Yes, so won't you...
I've been waiting for you. Don't you little fool, it's me. Do you want the whole house to... That's better.
What are you doing here?
Oh, don't worry. You haven't got a thing to worry about now. I've come to protect you. Give me the phone. Hello? Never mind about the lock, thank you. Sit down. Make yourself at home. Been waiting here for you. Long time no see, Georgia.
What do you want, Pearlie?
Me? A headline. Your husband wants, too. He wants I should keep an eye on you.
What's that?
Sure. You didn't think Steve and I were acquainted, did you? Oh, yes. From way back. Just met him at a bar.
I don't believe you. What do you mean, keep an eye on me?
Oh, just in case the creep... You heard of the character?
You're mad. You've always been mad, Pearlie Chase. Where is Steve? Why should he send you here? Why should he think the creeper will come here? What are you doing here?
Told you. Playing along crazy. Got a drink?
You're drunk now. And you're getting right out of here. You're nothing but a no-good rummy.
And you're nothing but a no-good... You finish it. When I took the drink, it was to drown you out, and you know it. I'm still a rum pot angel, which means I haven't got rid of you yet.
Get out.
You little two-timing redhead. You're all the same, you redheads. Even a wedding ring can't change you. Oh, don't play the innocent. My business is snooping. I make a living at it between drinks. So your new motto's love thy neighbor, huh? Mr. Stone across the hall? Poor dumb Steve.
I'm warning you. Get out or I'll call the police.
Stay where you are?
Pearlie, what are you doing with that gun?
I wouldn't pick up that phone if I were you. You see, there's a big reward for the creeper and a heck of an exclusive, and I don't want to share it. I'm riding a hunch. Now, sit down, darling. Just play along with me while I play along crazy. Sit down. That's it. Like we're expecting company. Let's have some music. Don't just sit. Let's have some music. I said turn on the radio. That's it. That's the good girl. Dance music. Let's dance. Give me a run. Let's dance. Like old times. Around and around like my brain. Why you trembling? I still love you, you little fool. Ask me why. I love you. I love you, you lovely redhead. I could kill you and you deserve it. With the radio on, you could scream and no one would hear. I could put my hand on your throat like this. I could strangle you. Why are you crying? Stop it. I'm here to protect you. Stop crying. Cut it, I said. Cut it out. I can't stand it. I never could. Okay. You want me to leave? All right, I will. It's your funeral. What am I saving you for anyway?
Where's my hat? In a few minutes, there'll be a knock or a ring, or the door will just open. And you'll be lying in a pool of blood like the other three. Goodbye, my worthless. Give my regards to the creeper.
What if he comes back? He wants to kill me. Somebody wants to kill me. Must lie down. My head is splitting. Trying to frighten me. Still a spite, that's it. Like the other three. In a pool of blood. Like the other three. Almost 12 o'clock. Any minute now there'll be a knock. Or a ring. Yes?
This is the doorman, Mrs. Grant.
Yes?
The druggist is here with the medicine. Shall I let him up?
The medicine? Oh, yes, let it... No. Don't let that man up.
Want me to bring it up?
No. I'm perfectly all right. I don't need any... I don't need it, you hear? Don't you dare come up. Don't dare leave. Oh, please, I must have it changed right away. My door lock. Yes, this is Mrs. Grant. Yes, I do want it. Of course, anyone can get in, anyone. They want to murder me, but I don't know who. It's the creeper. Oh, you'll come right away? Thank you so much, but hurry, please, hurry, or I'll go out of my mind. Oh, thank the Lord. Like the other three in a pool of blood. Any minute now. A knock or a ring. Who's there?
It's me, dear, Mrs. Stone.
Oh, what do you want?
I've been worried about you. Are you ill?
No, I'm all right, Mrs. Stone. I'm feeling fine.
Open up, dear. Don't you want me to keep you company?
No, thank you. I was just... Oh, stop that.
Do let me in, silly, and we'll...
No, please, go away. I'm going to sleep. Go away. You hear me? Go away. Hello.
Hello, George. Are you all right?
Oh, Steve. Steve, I've been frantic. So good to hear your voice. Where are you?
At headquarters. I'm going right home. Sweetheart, is anything wrong?
No, not now. Not when I hear you, Steve. I don't know what came over me all day. I've been imagining things so silly. My nerves.
Sorry about supper tonight, honey. I wasn't myself. My job had me down, but now everything's
Oh, of course. Forgive me, Steve. I've been bad, wicked. Oh, darling, if you knew what I've gone through tonight, the most dreadful state. And then that... Steve, did you send someone here today?
Pearly Chase?
And you did?
Yeah, to keep you company. Isn't he still with you?
No, I just got rid of him.
Oh, I wish you hadn't. He's an all right guy. Smart reporter. Lives in the neighborhood, too. Honey, it sounds cockeyed. I mean, Pearlie's theory, but I was kind of worried when I got to thinking, so... Listen, Georgia.
Yes.
Don't let anyone in the house till I get home.
No, I won't, Steve.
Not anyone, do you hear? Not anyone.
Oh, Steve, wait.
What?
Wait, Steve, it's, thank goodness at last now I can breathe easy. Darling, just a minute.
Georgia. Hello? Hello, George?
Mr. Frank?
Mr. Frank. Can you hear me?
Thank goodness you've come. Please, step in. It's the lock on this door. I want... Just a moment, my husband's on the
Can you
phone.
hear me, Georgia?
Steve?
Yeah, what happened? There was something else I wanted to tell you.
It's all right, darling. Everything's all right now, Steve. You needn't worry.
Didn't I just hear you talking to someone? Was that somebody at the door?
No, it's no one, dear. It's just Mr. Frank, the locksmith. What a load.
Georgia, listen, Georgia. That's what I was going to tell you.
What is...
The police are on a new trail. They think maybe a locksmith. Georgia, you listening? They think maybe the creeper's a locksmith. Get him out, quick.
What nice lipstick you use, Mrs. Grant. Yes. Very nice lipstick. Very
Georgia. Hello, Georgia.
Hello?
Hello, who's this?
Hurry. Catch me before I kill more. For heaven's sake.
Soft footsteps hurrying down the corridor, away from the door with the broken lock now standing ajar. The body of a red-headed woman. And still, should she not have known that her only visitor would be death? The clocks struck 12 for murder at midnight. Remember to be with us again when death knocks at the door, wearing a familiar face, and the clocks strike 12 for murder at midnight. The part of Georgia was played by Ann Shepard. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
This I believe. Sol Hurok is perhaps the world's best-known impresario. The roster of artists he has presented reads like a list of the greats of our time. Included are Pavlova, Isadora Duncan, Marian Anderson, and Artur Rubinstein, to name just a few. Sol Hurok was born in the Ukraine, the son of a hardware merchant. At the age of 17, he determined to see the world, which lay beyond the gates of his town. He arrived in New York with $1.50 in his pocket. 17 odd jobs in Philadelphia, ranging from peddling notions to washing bottles and taking tickets on a streetcar, convinced him that he could be no worse off in New York City. There he secured a job in a hardware store, and in 3 years saved $168. Enough to finance his first entertainment venture. The rest is theatrical history. Here now is Sol Hurok's creed.
It is not my way to look backwards. Today and tomorrow are the normal boundaries of my thinking. But trying now, as I am, to form the guiding, leading philosophy of my life, I would say this. I have been a happy and fortunate man because I have always believed in what I was doing. I have always had a wholehearted zest for my work. I have never minded the failures half as much as I enjoy the successes. I have never been discouraged by the gloomy warnings of others who tried to change my mind before my major decisions. From the beginning, when I arrived to this country with 3 rubles in my pocket and determination to provide music for the masses, I knew that I would find the right way. 1 million potential music lovers had not moved out of their little neighborhood since the day they had been brought here from the Castle Garden or the Ellis Island at that time. I wanted to induce them to come to the strange world, the Hippodrome, a temple in which simple people would enter to enjoy great art at the Hippodrome. I could give them programs of the world's greatest artists at the popular prices. Sold tickets to them, not at the box office, but at their drugstores in Harlem, their jewelry stores in the Bronx, their music stores in Brooklyn, through their trade unions and fraternal organizations. It was a wonderful time for me when the people came for the first time. They came by trolleys, by L, walked to the correct numbers of blocks, turned to the right or to the left, and they got there. For thousands of them, it was the first time they had seen the busy heart of the city, which was their home, and it was a good way to see it and feel it. I have never lost my enthusiasm for such a work, and the important thing is that I have had, whether successful or not, I think of the first time that I brought the Belarus to this country, and have lost $85,000, but never felt sorry that I brought them. There was a few financial failures I had, but never artistic failures. I was never discouraged, nor did I think of going to my friends. I remember what Tolstoy had said when he was very ill. Don't publish any more bulletins about my illness, he told the doctors. What good do they do? My friends will be saddened, my enemies cheered. I kept my trouble to myself, kept my office, waited to get started again, and of course I did. All this could have happened to me nowhere but in this country. I see this humbly and I say it sincerely. The freedom, the search for a better life, the youth ambition, the strength of American made this the only atmosphere in which could find fulfillment. For this I shall always be grateful.
They're the beliefs of Saul Hurok of New York. He is the world-famous impresario, instrumental in bringing ballet to the American people.
Yes, it's another case for that most famous of all manhunters, the detective whose ability at solving crime is unequaled in the history of detective fiction, Nick Carter, Master Detective. Tonight's curious adventure, a special Christmas story.
Nick Carter's Christmas Adventure, or the mystery of the reluctant contributor.
Well, Nick, we've been pretty lucky so far, haven't we?
Yes, Gubby, we have.
Which is another way of saying that folks are usually willing to contribute to your settlement house Christmas party every year, Nick.
You know, Scubby, I was just thinking about this last name on our list.
Yeah?
Rasper. I don't know him personally. Do you?
No, I don't, but somebody must have thought he was rich enough or interested enough in the work to make a substantial contribution. Oh, here's the... Hey, is this... Hey, Nick, what's that address again?
576 Milton Avenue.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And there's his name on the door plate. Well, let's take a look, Scubby.
Well, gosh, this doesn't make sense, Nick. A guy with dough doesn't hide away in a place like this.
Well, knock on the door anyhow.
Doesn't seem to be anybody here, Nick.
No, hold it, Scubby. I hear someone coming.
Oh.
Who is it?
I'm Nicholas Carter. May I speak to Mr. Rasper, please?
Nick Carter, eh?
Yes, yes. And this is my assistant, Scubby Wilson.
How do you do?
You, Mr. Rasper?
Yes. Well, come in. It's cold out there. You're letting all the heat out.
Oh, beg your pardon. Come on, Scubby.
Yeah, I'm in, Nick. I'm in.
Well, what was it you wanted?
Well, Mr. Rasper, I've come to see if you would care to make a contribution to my Christmas party fund.
I never make contributions.
Oh, but you didn't let Nick finish, sir. The fund provides food and extra clothing for the needy and deserving
The
children.
charity department's still working, isn't it?
Well, of course, Mr. Rasper, but my object is to provide an inspiration for the young people who are underprivileged.
People who haven't got any money are always trying to get it from those who have.
Then you aren't interested in seeing that the children of the Lincoln Hall district are helped to a little happiness on Christmas Day?
No, I'm not. Christmas is old-fashioned. I don't believe in it. It's a waste of money and time. Good day.
Oh, well, Mr. Rasper, it's always been a lot of fun for me personally, and I must say that I've always felt better for celebrating it.
And I'm inclined to agree with Scotty, Mr. Rasper. Christmas has always been a bright spot in my life, and I feel sure that if you knew the good it has done throughout the world, it'd make you change your mind.
Rubbish.
Well, in any case, a Merry Christmas to you.
Good day to you. Merry Christmas, indeed. It's a lot of nonsense.
Come on, Nick. Let's get back to civilization.
You know, Scubby, that man's wealthy, no doubt about that. And yet he's solid on Christmas. And everything it stands for.
You said a mouthful, Nick.
You know, Scubby, there must be reason why he thinks that way. And I'd like to find out what it is.
Yeah, but you haven't anything to work on, Nick.
Oh, no, Scubby, I haven't. Not yet. But look here. I can finish up whatever has to be done this afternoon. Suppose you hop down to the newspaper office and go through the files there. There might just be something we could learn about Rasper that way.
Okay, Nick, I'll be glad to.
Then I'll have Riley check through the files at headquarters. It's a long shot, but something might turn up.
Sure, maybe Patsy has run into something while she's been working down at the settlement house.
She might know somebody who knows something about Rasper.
Yeah, she might have that. I'll ask her about it.
Okay.
And maybe with all of us working together on it, we may learn why Rasper's so dead set against Christmas. I'd certainly like to find out.
Hello, is that you, Nick? Riley talking. I've been through my files here, and I can't find anything charged against a man named Ben Rasper. No, he was licensed to do business with a man named Howard Lowe, but Lowe died some years ago. Otherwise, Rasper is just a successful businessman. Yeah, that's right. I'll tell you what, though, Nick. There's an old fellow named Fred Anderson who used to be on the forts who knows Rasper. Sure. You can find him at Lincoln Hall, where you're giving the party. He's the watchman there now. Okay, Nick, that's all right. See you tomorrow.
Hello. Oh, yes, Scubby? Oh, you did, huh? Sports remoter, huh? Well. What was that name again? Chris Baum. Why, yes, I recall. Oh, no, I'll be there in about an hour, so I want to call Patsy first. Right. And thanks, Scubby. Bye. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what... Hey, Patsy. How's everything, huh? Oh, fine. I'm coming down to the hall. Is there anything you want me to bring along? Uh-huh. Why, sure, I can do that. But will that be enough, though? Okay. Yeah, Scubby just called. Oh, he found out something about Rasper. What? You did, too? How old is he? Named Jimmy, huh? And he's coming to our party? Oh, fine, Patsy. Okay, I'll see you in a little while. Bye. Oh, that's fine. We've collected enough to do this year's party up right. Now let's get organized. Riley, your job will be to get the kids and the needy persons rounded up.
Oh, sure, Nick. I'll take care of it. I got your list and the list from the social worker and from the church down there. And there are plenty of others who'll need a lift this year, believe me.
I know it, Riley, and I'll depend on you. Scubby, it's your job to see that the tree and decorations and gifts are taken care of.
Don't worry, Nick. Decorating is my middle name. I'll make Lincoln Hall look like $1 million in cash.
Good boy. And Patsy, you'll see to it that there's plenty to eat and drink for the party, so I won't have to worry about that. I'll take care of the bills, and you have the letters of credit the stores gave us. You know how to do that.
Sure thing, Nick. I've been through it with you often enough before. I ought to know what you want by this time.
What are you going to be doing, Nick?
Me? Well, Riley, I'm going to do a little detecting. I'm going to look into those tips you, Patsy, and Scubby gave me about those people who know Ben Rasper. And by the time I'm through, I hope to find out why it is that he hates Christmas the way he does. And then, maybe I'll be able to do something about it.
Hello? Yes, this is Rasper talking. Yes? I sent you the bill, didn't I? Well, what if it is due on the 27th? No, just because it's a holiday is no reason for a bill to be unpaid. Goodbye. Darn fool nonsense, that's what it is. There's a lot of foolish...
Still talking big, ain't you, Rasper?
Who's that? What do you want?
Don't you remember me, Rasper?
No, I don't remember you. Who are you?
They used to call me the Kid. Chris the Kid.
Chris?
Sometimes known as the Human Flash.
Chris, you?
Oh. Well, it's been a long time, Rasper, hasn't it?
How'd you find me? Who sent you here?
A fellow named Nick Carter told me I'd find you here in your office, even if it is Christmas Eve.
Nick Carter? Oh, yes. Wanted me to give him some money for some fool party.
Oh, for the party at Lincoln Hall, I guess. He's never asked me for anything. Just gave me what I needed, when I needed it.
Yeah, so he hired you to come here and take up my time to get...
No, he didn't send me here. Just said I'd find you here, that's all. I came here on my own accord, just to wish you a Merry Christmas. Thought you'd say that. Well, I don't mind, because it's on account of Nick Carter that I can stand on my own feet again. Not on account of you.
What's that?
You mind if I sit down? It was on Christmas Eve that we won our first fight, wasn't it?
Fight?
Oh, yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I can remember the noise of the crowd, the glare of the lights, and the smoke curling around and the brightness over the ring, and you leaning over me with that wet towel.
You got him going, Chris. Another one like that last round, and you'll have him in the ropes for the count. How do you feel now, kid?
I'm okay, Rasper. Just let me at him. I don't have to wait anymore. It's my meat right now.
You take your orders from me, kid. I'm the brains here. When you get the signal from me, you give it to him.
Okay, Rasper. You're the boss.
Keep your shoulder high. Keep it up. That's right. Take him. Now you can take him. Get set. Take him, Chris. Now.
There were a lot of those little affairs after that, Rasper. And I always did what I was told, huh?
Yes. You're a good fighter, Chris. Good fighter.
I made a lot of money for us in those fights, Rasper.
Well,
a lot of money.
the old days, Chris. Lots of water's gone under lots of bridges since then.
I know. And the percentage you paid me didn't last long either. It went just like that water. But I didn't care much about things like that. Till the day a friend of mine came and gave me a warning tip. That started me thinking.
Oh, kid, how do you feel?
Oh, hello, Rasper. Where you been? I wanted to talk to you.
I've been around. What's up?
I got a tip today that you're signing up Timmy O'Day. You're going to manage him.
Who told you that?
Never mind. Is it true?
That depends.
Depends on what?
Look, kid, you're getting slow. O'Day's fresh. He'll be the next champ. If he wins this fight with you tonight, I'm taking him over.
If I win tonight?
I'm taking O'Day over anyhow. We've been together a long time, kid, and it don't pay to get into too much of a rut.
So that's all it means to you, is it? Money. The payoff, huh? What about all the years we've known each other? What about the things we've been through? Why, you know...
Don't get yourself all in a sweat, kid. It isn't good for you. You'll get your cut anyway. Don't worry. You'll get your cut. I'll see you later.
Rasper, what'll I do? Tell me what to do. I can't see him. My eyes all puffed up. He's cutting me to ribbons. Tell me what to do, Rasper.
Don't bother me, kid. Use your own judgment. You're on your own, as of now.
But, Rasper, you always...
You're on your own, kid.
I can still see you sitting there in the ring corner, laughing at me. But that was the last thing I saw for a long time. O'Day saw to that. You must have coached him pretty thorough about my style. And then you really cashed in. Well, I haven't got much myself, but I'm still able to wish you a Merry Christmas, Rasper. Although I don't think you'll ever have one.
Chris,
I got some things to do, Rasper. Carter asked me to pick up some things for the party at Lincoln Hall tomorrow. We always have a swell time at Carter's Christmas parties. Too bad you can't enjoy anything like that anymore. Well, as I said before, Rasper, Merry Christmas.
How can a man work with his mind whirling like a merry-go-round? Christmas Eve. God, it's a fine excuse for people to go around yelling at each other in the streets. Disturbing a man when he wants to get some work done. Oh, I might as well close the office and get some rest. Would have been home by now if the kid, if Chris hadn't taken up so much time. What Chris does for a living now. Wonder if... it's none of my concern. Get home and get some sleep. That's what I need. Who's that? I'm closing up. Come back tomorrow morning.
Oh, I'm glad I got here before you left, Ben.
Who is it?
It's Nina, Ben.
Oh, Nina.
I only stopped by to speak to you for a moment. It's getting quite late, and
Well, sit down for a moment, Nina.
Oh, thank you.
Here, let me get your chair.
I suppose it's rather bold of me to come after all this time, but
Why, no, Nina, no. I'm glad you did. Is there something you want?
Oh, no. No, there's nothing you can do for me, Ben. Jimmy and I are doing very nicely. I just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. I was in the neighborhood doing some shopping for the party that Mr. Carter's giving at Lincoln Hall tomorrow, and
How is he, Nina? Jimmy, I mean.
Oh, he's fine, Ben. He's full of life and interested in everything. He has a good head on his shoulders, and he's very handsome, too.
Oh, that's fine. Just fine.
You're looking a little tired, Ben. Are you feeling well?
Oh, yes, of course. I've been working hard, that's all. spend much time at home. Not much reason to.
That's the way you wanted it, Ben. Don't you remember?
Nina, where are you?
Oh, Jimmy, there's Daddy. Wait here for Mommy like a good boy, won't you? I'm coming, Ben. I've been keeping your dinner warm for you. I hope you'll... What's the matter, Ben? You look as if...
That's nothing, Nina, nothing. I'm in a hurry, that's all.
Well, you're always in a hurry, aren't you? Never have time for...
Where's my dinner?
Sit down, Ben. I'll have it for you right away. This plate is hot now. Be careful that you don't burn yourself.
I won't. Salt, please.
Here you are, dear. Ben, when you've finished, won't you take time enough out of your business to help me get the tree decorated? I know Jimmy's too young to know much about it, but I'd love to have his Christmas all ready for him in the morning. Look, I'll put him to sleep right away, and then we can start. See, I have some holly and mistletoe for the fireplace, and some...
I won't have time for that, Nina.
But, Ben, it's Christmas Eve. Surely you
I have to get back to the office. I'm putting on a championship match for a day in January, and the things have gone haywire. Something that can't wait till tomorrow. I have to get it organized right away, that's all.
Ben, this is Christmas Eve. Tomorrow will be Jimmy's first Christmas. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
You and Jimmy celebrate Christmas any way you want to, Nina. I've something more important to do. Business is more important than sentiment. You certainly can see that.
Yes, Ben. I can see that. I've been seeing it more and more during the last few years. I thought that when Jimmy came, maybe you would... No, I was wrong, wasn't I, Ben? You'd even let your love for business break up our home.
Break up our... Oh, don't be melodramatic, Nina.
I'm not being melodramatic, Ben. I'm trying to be very calm and quiet about it. I've had a lot of time to think when I've sat alone here night after night. And those days on end when you've been away attending to your business.
And what has come out of all this thinking you've done?
Just this, Ben. I'm not going on any longer. Either you belong to your family, or your family will get along without you.
I have to rush, Nina. Good night.
Not good night, Ben. It's goodbye. Jimmy and I are leaving tonight.
Look, I haven't time to talk about it with you now, Lena. By the way, this will probably take most of the night.
Good night. Goodbye, Ben, and Merry Christmas.
I never had much of a chance to make it up to you, Nina.
You've had all the chance you wanted, Ben.
But, Nina,
I just dropped by to say hello and to give you a wish for happiness during the holidays. It's hard not to share with you the joy I have with Jimmy. I wish you could see his eyes dance at Mr. Carter's Christmas parties. Unfortunately, on what little I make, we can't very well afford to have our Christmas at home, but somehow we don't miss it. Everybody has such a grand time at Mr. Carter's party, and Jimmy does enjoy every minute that he's there. Goodness, I'll have to be on my way. Jimmy's waiting for me, and I have to make one more stop for Mr. Carter. Good night, Ben, and Merry Christmas.
This stuff doesn't taste like anything. Nothing at all. Can't understand what's got into me. It's good food, fixed the same as it always is. It just doesn't taste right, that's all. What's that? Someone at the door this time of the night? I'm coming.
Hello, Ben. It's Fred Anderson. Glad I found you at home.
I'm always at home this time of night.
Yes, I suppose you are, Ben. Can I come in?
Of course.
I brought your package, Ben. Nick Carter sent me around with it. Said you'd probably be here alone tomorrow and he'd like you to have it.
Carter? What's Carter sending me?
You might open it and see, Ben. I'm no mind reader.
Can't see any reason why Carter would want to... Bottle of port wine. Let me see the card. Merry Christmas from Nick Carter. What's the idea? You know anything about this, Fred?
No, but Nick Carter's a funny duck. There's lots of things people don't expect him to.
Why, I don't even know the man. Only saw him once, and then... You want a glass of this wine, Fred?
Don't mind if I do, Ben. Seeing it's Christmas Eve, I don't mind at all.
There's some glasses here somewhere. Say, how do you open this thing?
Here, I'll do it for you, Ben. Yeah, that does it. Now, go ahead, you open it.
Yes? Oh, yes, all right.
Well, ain't you drinking with me, Ben?
Huh? Oh. Yes, I will.
That's the ticket. Well, here's Merry Christmas for you, Ben.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Well, how have you been keeping yourself, Fred?
Oh, I've been sort of working around Lincoln Hall since I was retired from the force.
I see.
You know, while I was coming here tonight, I was thinking about those old days when I walked a beat. Funny, most folks call them the good old days, but I don't.
You did all right in those times, didn't you?
Oh, sure, I got along. I was just thinking about the different attitudes folks have nowadays toward being given a hand. They appreciate it more, it seems to me.
Charity's still charity, Fred. That hasn't changed.
Guess it's all in the point of view, Ben. I guess you haven't changed with the times. That night I met you near the bridge. I was sure you were going to see that you were headed in the wrong direction and wake up in time. Huh? Remember that night, Ben? It was Christmas Eve. You'd just come from the arena. They'd handed you your walking papers because you'd let them down cold.
Well, Merry Christmas, officer.
Oh, Merry Christmas to you, sir. Well, what you doing out on a night like this, Ben? I thought you'd be up at the arena getting the New Year's fights lined up.
What? Oh, it's you, Anderson. No, I'm not at the arena anymore.
That's so. What happened?
They decided tonight they'd rather have Davis take over my job. Fine Christmas present that is.
Well, that's tough news, Ben. What you going to do now?
I don't know. I can't seem to think straight.
Oh, that's a crazy way for a man like you to talk. On a Christmas Eve, too?
Christmas Eve. That's never been anything but a jinx to me. First I get stuck with that no-good fighter all day. Then Nina leaves me and takes my son with her. And now the arena throws me out.
Well, maybe you better stop and find out what it is you're doing wrong, Ben. Maybe you're the one that's to blame, not Christmas Eve.
They all take advantage of me. I made all the money I could for them, but I'm not going to do it anymore.
Oh, take it easy, Ben. Take it easy. You better go home and think it over.
I have thought it over, Fred, and I know what the answer is. I'm going to make money for myself and nobody else. I'll show these people. I'll make so much money they'll come crawling to me on their knees. I won't have to ask for anybody's sympathy.
You don't pay to think like that, Ben. You'll regret it. Now, look. I know that Bill Boynton, who runs the shoe store down on Elm Street, is looking for a man to buy in with him. Why don't
Me work in a shoe store? Not in your life, Fred. I'm going after the big money. Big money. That's the only thing people understand, and I'm going to get it.
Well, now you've got it, Ben. You're one of the richest men in town. And what's it got you?
Why, I don't know.
Ben, it's too bad you don't get around and see what nice people there are in the world. People like this Carter fella, for instance. It does a man good to know people like him. Makes you feel there really is a Santa Claus, to see him bring the smiles to the kids' faces at those parties he gives down at Lincoln Hall. Well, I'll be getting back there now, Ben. I've got a big day tomorrow. I'm not as young as I used to be. Well, Merry Christmas to you, Ben. I'll tell Nina I saw you. She'll be at the party tomorrow with young Jimmy. Good night, Ben.
Lieutenant Riley will hand you your gift. Then you go around to the tables there and get your refreshment. Come on now, line up. That's it. That's the ticket. Now, march around here. Come on. Take your time now.
Well, Patsy, how's it going?
Oh, Nick, it's wonderful. We're having a grand time.
Oh, that's fine, Patsy. Hey, Patsy, look. Over there by the door. What do you see?
Where, Nick? Oh, well, who's that?
That, Patsy, is Ben Rasper. Oh, I hope he's come to join the party.
For heaven's sake, that's the man I've heard so much about. Well, he'll upstairs with us, Nick.
Look, Patsy, will you go over and make him welcome?
Oh, of course, Nick.
Good.
Hello there. Merry Christmas. I'm Patsy Bowen.
Oh.
Won't you join us?
How do you do? I hope I'm not... Do you mind if I just watch?
Well, of course not.
Come right in.
I wanted to thank Mr. Carter for the gift he sent, and
Nick's right over there near the tree. Come along.
Children seem to be enjoying themselves, don't they?
They certainly do. There's Lieutenant Riley handing out the gifts there. And Scotty Wilson with him, standing next to Mr. Carter.
Yes, I met Mr. Wilson.
Look at Lieutenant Riley. He's having as much fun as the children.
So I see. Oh, there's a nice-looking boy there, Miss... what's his name?
Where?
That one over there.
Oh, that's Jimmy. He's a nice boy. His mother was a big help to me in getting the refreshments ready. There she is over there on the far side of the hall at the table, see?
Oh, yes. Her son.
Yes.
Yes,
Nick?
I see.
Nick, we have a new guest.
Oh, hello there, Mr. Rasper. Merry Christmas. I'm glad you could join us.
Thank you, Miss Carter. I came to express my appreciation for the gift you sent me. I hardly know how
Think nothing of it, Mr. Rasper. Your being here is thanks enough for me.
Mr. Carter, that little boy coming along the line there, Jimmy, I think his name is. Do you think I might give him... could I hand him his gift, do you think?
Why, certainly. Riley. Mr. Rasper here wants to lend a hand. Can you use him?
Sure thing, Nick. Come along, Mr. Rasper.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
You just hand them these packages as they come along, Mr. Rasper. And enjoy yourself, man.
I will. There, little girl. Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you.
Say, she liked it, didn't she?
Well, they all appreciate a little kindness, Mr. Rasper. Now, here's a gift for that little boy there.
Oh. Hello, Jimmy. Here you are. And a Merry Christmas, son.
Oh, well, that was the day for you. Gosh, I haven't had so much fun since last year.
You played those games harder than any two kids in the bunch, Scubby.
Yeah, and lost practically every time.
You're kidding. Why do you really have to be in condition to keep up with these kids? Boy, they're wonders. Hey, where do they get all that energy?
That will be one of the world's great mysteries forever, Scubby. Nick, what are you thinking so hard about?
Oh, I was just thinking of the way Mr. Rasper took to the party.
Oh?
Hey, don't you mean the way the party took to Mr. Rasper, Nick?
Yeah, I never saw a man open up the way he did. Well, it was wonderful. The children just flocked around him.
And that's one of the greatest jobs that Nick Carter ever did.
Well, what do you mean, Riley?
Well, Patsy, you'll never believe it, but when Nick and I went to see Rasper to get a contribution to the party, he was the hardest case of unadulterated unpleasantness I ever saw. But somehow Nick managed to get under his skin and bring out, well, what you saw tonight.
Well, for heaven's sake. How did you do it, Nick?
Well, it wasn't difficult, Patsy. You see, I could see when we first spoke to Rasper that he was fighting something. But I didn't know what it was. But from what Riley, Scubby, and you told me, I found that 3 different times Christmas Eve had brought him bad luck. First, the fighter O'Day. Then Mrs. Rasper had left Rasper on a Christmas Eve, taking his son Jimmy with her. And third, he'd lost his promoter's connection at the arena, also on Christmas Eve. Well, the whole thing added up. Rasper associated Christmas Eve with a list of unfortunate incidents and fought anything that suggested the holidays to him. He made a lot of money, but it never brought him happiness. The big thing for me was to make him realize that people and Christmas meant good and not evil. And from what I saw this afternoon, the Rasper family and the whole neighborhood, for that matter, is going to benefit by his awakening to that realization.
Oh, Nick, that's wonderful. You deserve a kiss for that.
Oh, thanks, Patsy. I'm glad you feel that way, too. You know, I'm happier this evening because of Mr. Rasper than I would be if I'd solved 20 murders. He's made this a really Merry Christmas for all of us.
This has been another of the strange adventures of Nick Carter, Master Detective, which are brought to you regularly at this time by WOR Mutual. What's your story going to be about next time, Nick?
It's a little different from the usual story, because it started out with Nick himself being the victim of a holdup.
Yes, and the men who held me up turned out to be innocent after all.
Sounds a trifle complicated to me.
It was. Complicated, but interesting. And it gave me plenty of trouble before I found the solution.
Including a sore throat that almost finished Nick Carter.
A sore throat? Why should that be dangerous?
Because it was the kind that you get from a rope around your neck.
Hey, wait a minute. You mean...
All the rest of the story you get 2 weeks from tonight, not now. So long, everybody.
So long.
So long, both of you. In the strange adventure you have just heard, Nick Carter was impersonated by Lon Clark, Patsy by Helen Choate, and Scubby by John Kane. The story was written for Nick Carter by Humphrey Davis. Original music was played by Lou White. The entire production was under the direction of Jock McGregor. 2 weeks from tonight, at the same time, listen to another curious experience of Nick Carter entitled
The Double Disguise, or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Kidnapped Heiress.
This story is a copyrighted feature of Street and Smith Publications, Incorporated. The Return of Nick Carter is produced in the studios of WOR and is broadcast over most of these stations Monday evenings at 9:30 Eastern Wartime. This is Mutual.
This I believe. Unlike most people in the world of entertainment, band leader Stan Kenton has refused to be governed in his profession by popular likes and dislikes. This course has meant much hard work and a long wait for recognition. Here is the creed which has inspired Stan Kenton's career.
I am at present 41 years of age. It is difficult to even imagine what changes will come about within me in the rest of my life that lies ahead. My values and the justification of my theories concerning the existence of mankind are the results of my education and experiences as I have lived to this day. My only and real concern is the development of humanity in all phases. Humanity is a vast, all-encompassing term applying to all of the peoples of not only my own country, but of the entire world. Because the essence of the laws of nature is growth and development, change is a positive thing and always for a better state of being. It is necessary for all effort and endeavor in every phase of achievement to be thrown into one gigantic storehouse to be used as humanity's needs are made evident. Man is most complex. There are 3 parts of him that must grow evenly and steadily. Some things contribute to his spiritual development, and others to his intellectual self, and necessary also are his needs for emotional growth. No one part of our culture can lead over the others for very long without having to be detained to wait for the development of the rest that must be a part of the overall growth for everyone. My work pertains to the arts. To be more specific, I'm a part of the modern world of music. I have found that as I became more appreciative of the arts, I developed sensitivities that broadened my awareness of others' needs. Music is food for the emotions, and greater demands are being made of it constantly because we are reaching deeper into our inner selves. As time moves on, the emotional hunger can only be satisfied by music that constantly says more. I want to be a part of this creative need in satisfying the desire for fresh music. A most reassuring thought to me personally is that in creating and performing in my own field, I am actually helping to condition people to accept growth in other phases of their development. And by the same function of others in this tremendously involved mechanism of humanity, I gain and grow to another level along with the rest of mankind. To attempt to list in itemized form all of the varied contributions made to all people by individual effort would be totally futile. It is consolation enough to know that every moment is being used to help make the world better for those that are a part of it. Each man works and contributes in his own way, and all effort somehow is a part of the total gain for all. All I have and enjoy today was given me by those that came before. My music would not be such without the music created in the past. My strong obligation is to those with whom I live and to those that come after me. I must help through my music to make life more rich in emotional awareness. In my field of endeavor, I'm attempting to replace the conventional type of hackneyed material with a more contemporary form of music that will more nearly satisfy the needs of today. In considering the vastness of mankind since the beginning of time, no one can possibly believe that his generation or his personal self is more important than any other period or person since the beginning of humanity's existence. No one person or group of people can live happily without the help of others. Regardless of the differences of individual purpose, we are dependent upon each other. What I have stated so far is the philosophy that propels me, and without these things I can see no reason for tomorrow. This I believe.
That was Stan Kenton, whose music, like his beliefs, is both imaginative and unique.
Night Beat.
Lucky Stone is the name. I'm the guy that writes that column that's buried somewhere in the middle of your Examiner, called Night Beat. They call me Lucky for the same reason they call a fat man slim. Because the best you can hope for on a job like this is chronic bronchitis, rings under your eyes, and the fact that you're awake when regular folk are asleep. Sometimes the worst happens to you. A story grabs your heart and shakes it until it hollers uncle. A corpse in the dark alley is the business at hand. In the big city, a dead man is a pretty impersonal thing. But this one I had a special interest in, because they wanted me to identify it.
Night Beat stars Frank Lovejoy as Lucky Stone.
It was early morning when I walked into the county morgue. There was that same familiar ammonia smell stinging my nostrils, that gleaming tile, that cold, empty feeling you get. The way the morgue always swipes across your face like the tail end of a nightmare. The police lieutenant was waiting for me. He nodded for the attendant to pull back the white sheet.
Well?
Yes, that's him. That's Ted Carter.
Okay, that does it. We had to get positive identification. You were the only one we could reach. Sorry I had to get you out of bed.
Oh, that's all right.
Guess that winds it up. Be seeing you. Thanks for the trouble.
Now, wait a minute.
Huh?
What do you mean, be seeing you and thanks? What happens now? We go back and catch up on our sleep?
I know you had a friendly interest in the kid, Lucky, but he got it the way all hoodlums eventually get it.
He was going straight and you know it.
You're getting sore about it.
Who did it? Who killed him?
Lucky, go into any book joint, any gin mill, look in any back alley, any flop house. Whoever you find there could have done it. Take your pick.
Take my pick?
Nobody talks. Nobody remembers anything. In my book, it's murder by person to persons unknown.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Maybe for you it's that way, but not for me, Lieutenant. I've known that guy since we were kids. I was lucky and he wasn't. I talked him into going straight and now he's dead for it.
Crazy to think that way, Lucky.
Okay, it's crazy. Somebody didn't like the idea of his going straight. And if I don't find out who it is, I'm going to start having some lousy dreams, Lieutenant. And I'm a guy that likes to sleep sound. I walked away from the lieutenant like he had the smallpox and I'd never been vaccinated. When I hit the street, it was raining. The sky was gray and there was a cold chill in the air. I waited for a cab thinking that the first time I hated this city, I hated it because somewhere in that rain was Ted's killer. What was he doing now? Sleeping? Having his morning coffee? Waiting for the first editions to come out and see how well he'd done? You'd have to look hard to find anything about Ted. Page 6, ex-hoodlum found shot, period. When you're an ex-anything, that's a nice way of saying you're dead, brother, lie down. When a cab showed up, I went over to see Ted's girl, Joan. As soon as she opened the door, I knew she'd found out. Her face looked pinched and pale, and her eyes were red like she'd squeezed out the last tear.
Lucky, why did it have to happen like that?
I'm sorry, Joan. You didn't go down to...
No, I couldn't.
I understand. Who do you think did it?
I don't know. He told me he was all through with the racket.
Well, what was he doing? Who'd he been mixed up with?
He never told me anything. I never asked him. I believed him when he told me he was going straight.
I'm going to find out who killed him, Joan.
Look, Lucky, you and Ted lived in different worlds. He wouldn't want you to get hurt because of him. This is for the police, Lucky.
I'm sorry, the police aren't interested.
Well, then why should you...
Because he followed my advice and now he's dead. Now, who was the last guy he worked for, Joan? Who got sore when Ted decided to go straight?
I don't know, Lucky. I don't know.
Joan didn't know. I went around to the old haunts, his former friends. They didn't know. The district attorney didn't know. The cops didn't know. Ted had kicked around in this city among all these people for 28 years. And now, suddenly, it was like he'd never lived at all. Then I remembered a little item from his old life. A little item with baby blue eyes and red hair. Laverne Clare. He'd gone with her before he met Joan, and even after he'd met Joan. I know he'd kept sneaking back to Laverne like a drunk trying to decide whether to spend his last coin calling Alcoholics Anonymous or buying a glass of Muscatel. I went looking for Laverne. She had the number 4 spot in one of those 5 times a day shows on the untidy side of town. When I got there, I had to wait until the fleshy part of the entertainment was over, and then I went to her dressing room. Now, Ted spent a lot of time telling me how crazy he was about you, Laverne.
Yeah? He was a sweet guy. Ted was all right.
He liked to tell me about the way you looked when you danced.
Yeah, sure. Where's my drink? That bottle there. Pour me, will you?
Oh, sure. Say when.
I'll be when.
Here you are.
Thanks.
Who do you think killed him, Laverne?
Look, Mr. Stone. You're a nice guy. So why don't you go back to your office and write your column? About pretty things, Mr. Stone. Nice, harmless things. You don't want to get mixed up with Bailey or with that guy, Jerry.
Bailey?
I didn't say Bailey.
Oh, so it's Bailey. The character that parlays pinballs into diamond stick pins. Number rackets, Bailey. So Ted knew something in here?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say anything. Get out of here. Right away. You understand?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm beginning to understand. So I had myself a lead, George Bailey. Only it was like going fishing with the hope that you'll be lucky enough to catch a trout, and all of a sudden, look who's eating your worm. Moby Dick, the whale. Before I told anyone else, I thought I'd go back and see Joan. I think I know who killed him, Joan.
You do?
I'm not positive, but it's a beginning.
Who?
George Bailey. Know him?
Bailey. Who told you it was Bailey?
You're getting pale, Joan, so you think it was Bailey, too.
Listen, Lucky, stay away from Bailey. He's trouble.
Yeah? I'll let you know exactly how much trouble. I'll see you later.
Lucky. It's dangerous. Please be careful.
The lieutenant told me anyone could have killed Ted. He invited me to take my pick. I'm going over and see that cop. I've taken my pick. George Bailey.
Lucky you surprised me. You really expect me to arrest George Bailey? On what charge?
He's mixed up with Ted's killing. You know it and I know it.
Outside of this Laverne girl, I got nothing to go on. You have one shred of evidence pointing to Bailey?
Arrest him on suspicion. Sweat it out of him.
Now, wouldn't I look fine against Bailey's high-powered shyster lawyers, trying to make an arrest stick because some drunken dame shot her mouth off? Even then, she'd deny it if I put her up on the witness stand.
So you don't want to touch Bailey?
Look, get me one witness who saw them together. Find me one scrap of evidence, even circumstantial evidence. I'll arrest Bailey in a minute. You won't find anything. I know. I've tried. All you'll find is frightened people and blank walls. Bailey's had this town by the throat for 10 years. No, I'm sorry, Lucky. I can't help you.
But I couldn't stop. I was like a snowball somebody started rolling down a hill. I didn't know where I was going or what would happen when I got there, but I had to keep rolling. They've got a name for that. It's called a guilt complex, and I had it in Technicolor. Ted was dead because he believed in me. I couldn't forget that any more than I could forget my name. Then I remembered my column. Sure, why not? The little poems to the first robin, the jokes about the smog, the stories of the happy winos that have to move over. I was going to work on Bailey in the only way I knew, and keep my fingers crossed that something would happen. What big shot racketeer sends for his aspirin every time someone mentions the back alley murder of Ted Carter? When is the district attorney going to get wise and change the address of Mr. B from a downtown penthouse to an upstate death house?
Listen to this, boss.
Huh?
Stone's latest little offering. When are the police going to bring in the Carter killer?
Let me see it. And if they don't know who it is, I'll give them a hint. Think of Daly and reach for the letter B.
How long's he going to get away with that?
Hand me the phone.
Sure.
Hello?
I want Lucky Stone.
You got him.
I'll say it only once, Mr. Stone.
Hmm?
I don't like this kind of publicity.
Oh, you must be Bailey.
I'm asking you to lay off.
Real polite like, huh?
That's right. Real polite. What's the good word, Mr. Stone?
The good word, I got a whole sack full. You get a copy of the Examiner first thing tomorrow, and you'll see him right under my byline.
Now, listen, Stone.
It'll be something like this. One of the local gendarmes going to knock on Mr. Bailey's door with a warrant for his arrest. Okay, he doesn't want a preview, so let him pay 7 cents. Well, that was more like it. So Bailey was beginning to squirm. Well, on him it looked just fine. I worked late on the column that night, giving Bailey enough needles to sew a circus tent. I was feeling pretty good. That guilt complex about Ted Carter wasn't hurting quite so much. I unlocked my door and stepped inside. I didn't have to shut the door. It was shut for me.
I've been waiting for you, Mr. Stone.
Well, as long as you're here, make yourself at home.
You're a wisecracker, ain't you? Like your friend, Ted Carter.
What do you know about Ted Carter?
Oh, he was a regular car.
Okay, what do you want?
My boss sent me over to take a look at you.
Your boss?
Mr. Bailey.
And you're little boy Blue, huh?
Yeah, a wisecracker, all right.
Well, tell that boss of yours I'll be dropping around to see him for an interview. Huh?
He don't want it that way. He sent me to see you instead.
Yeah?
He don't like people who don't pay attention to his telephone messages. He thinks you're very nasty, yapping all the time that he had something to do with the Ted Carter killing.
So?
So, like I said, Mr. Bailey don't like it.
Okay, Buster, now get out of here.
Not right now. Mr. Bailey wants me to teach you a lesson. For this blackjack. Mr. Bailey don't like smart guys. Wisecracker.
Night Beat stars Frank Lovejoy as Lucky Stone.
I woke up with a nice view of my ceiling. Sign outside the window flashed off and on. And every time it flashed on, it was like that punk of Bailey's with his blackjack testing his strength on my skull and doing fine. After a while, I crawled to my knees and worked my way over to the wall. And I climbed up the side of the dresser until I reached the phone. Operator, get me the police to... No, never mind. Skip it. All of a sudden, I didn't want the police in on this. I wanted this to be a private party. All of a sudden, I wanted to feel a gun in my hands. I washed up, changed clothes, and found a cab. It was 11:15 when I reached Joan's apartment. I had to knock a long time before she came to the door. She was rubbing the sleep out of her eyes.
Lucky? Oh, come on in.
Thanks, honey.
What happened to you?
Surprise party by the same people who surprised Ted.
Wait, I'll get some bandages.
No, that's not why I came.
No?
When Ted quit the rackets, What did he do with his gun?
He asked me to keep it. He said then I'd know he was on the up and up. Why?
I want Ted's gun.
What are you going to do with it?
Never mind. Just give me the gun.
No, Lucky. You'll only get...
The gun.
It's in the bottom drawer of the dresser. I'll get it. I think you're crazy. Here.
Thank you.
Where are you going?
Wentworth Towers. Bailey has an office there.
Lucky you are crazy. You're walking right into a trap. They'll kill you like they killed Ted.
Well, if I don't go, Jerry will be coming around again. You see, the way it's no good. At least this way I say when. Wish me luck.
Luck? Oh, you fool, you poor fool. You'll end up like Ted with 5 bullet holes in your back.
When I got to the Wentworth Towers, it was almost midnight. The streets were deserted. The only sounds were distant traffic. The front door was locked, and the only light in the lobby came from the night elevator. An old man sat inside the elevator dozing. I pounded on the window. He reluctantly got to his feet and started walking toward me. He snapped the lock and pushed open the front door.
Nobody in this building now? All the offices are closed.
Not all of them, Pop. I have an appointment with Mr. Bailey.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take you in. 24th floor. Come on.
As the elevator rose, I dipped my hand in my coat pocket. The cold touch of the gun had the comforting sensation of a boy holding his father's hand. The elevator came to a stop on the 34th floor. The doors opened, and little boy Blue stepped out of the darkness. He had a gun, too, only his was in his fist.
Take us downstairs, Pop.
Sure thing, Jerry.
I want to see Bailey.
We know, but Bailey don't want to see you. And keep your hands out of your pockets. Let me see what you got there. A gun. Pretty nice. Thanks.
Don't mention it. I'm always handing out souvenirs.
You go out first, Pop, and open the street door.
All right, Jerry, I'll get it open for you.
Is everything all right, Pop? Is it all clear?
Why don't you go out there and see? Here, I'll help you.
What?
I shoved the kid out. I pushed the lever that slammed the door shut and started the elevator going up. I could see little lights blink on the instrument panel as I passed each floor. Bailey was on the 34th floor, and I was getting closer. Closer. All of a sudden, the elevator stopped. I was stuck between the 11th and 12th floors. I didn't have to be a mastermind to figure out what had happened. Little boy Blue and the old man had gone to the basement and switched off the power on my elevator. They'd bring up one of the other elevators and come after me. I began to feel like an animal trapped in a cage. Then I noticed the little door on top of the elevator. I climbed up on the old man's stool. I pushed the door upward and grabbed the sides of the opening. And I started pulling myself out. And now I was standing on top of the elevator, hanging onto a greasy cable that ran down from the roof of the building. Far below, I heard the other elevator with Jerry and the old man start climbing. I leaned forward to reach the door of the 12th floor. I couldn't reach it. The other elevator was coming up fast. As I lunged for it again, their elevator stopped at the 11th floor. I was trapped good. But as long as I was between floors, they couldn't get to me either. Little boy Blue figured it that way, too.
Well, how are we going to get his elevator down here so we can get at him?
You wait here. I'll go down to the basement and get him down to the 11th with the emergency train.
All right, but hurry.
It was turning into a big evening. In a couple of minutes, I could feel my elevator inching down toward the 11th floor and me going right along with it, perched on the roof. Then I heard that shattering of glass. That meant the kid was using his gun butt to break through the little glass window in my elevator door. so that he could reach in and spring it open. Ah, nice figuring. And now if I could figure a way to stay alive for the next 5 minutes, Mr. Einstein could move over.
How can he get out of here? Gary, look at there. The trap door's open. He's just after the elevator. Yeah? Now, that ain't playing fair. How many floors in this building, Pop?
35.
I've always wanted to run an elevator. Let's see how fast we can get to the roof. Shut up. Hold on to your hat, Stone.
We were rising a mile a minute. All I could do was sprawl down and watch the roof of that building coming at me. Faster and faster. The top pulley singing around and around, louder and louder. The roof was rushing to meet me like we were lovers from way back. Faster and faster, almost to the top. Almost.
This, I believe. Stanley C. Allen is president of the National Cash Register Company. In 1913, he joined the company as an accountant and, in typical success story fashion, worked his way to the top. He is active in business and civic affairs in Dayton, Ohio, putting into practice his belief that good employee and community relations are the primary responsibility of management. This is Stanley Allen's creed.
It has always seemed to me that those beliefs which have shaped my life come from two sources. One is a faith which does not ask for proof. The other is personal experience, the lessons that can be learned only through living. I believe in God because I have faith that there is a supreme being, a power greater than that of man. I believe in people because I have faith that most men and women want to do the right thing. On the foundation of these basic beliefs, life rears a further structure drawn from personal experience. For me, an important part of that structure began in an early association with a college professor. This man changed the whole course of my life. I wanted to be a mining engineer and go to the Far East. He urged me to study for the field of business, which I did. More important than that, his philosophy of life made an indelible impression upon me. He always said that he wanted his students to remember two things above all others. One was the importance of being able to get along with people. The other, a determination never to be satisfied with the mediocre. Today I can appreciate what he sought to implant in our minds far more than I did then. I believe that only as I seek to understand the viewpoints, the hopes and the aspirations of others, can I hope for success in business and in community life. There is nothing mysterious about getting along with other people. It's my experience that we're all much the same in what we like and do not like and the way others treat us. We all respond to human understanding. We're all eager to play on the team if given a chance. As the founder of our business always said, you can buy head power and hand power, but you have to earn heart power. It has been said every institution is but the lengthened shadow of one man. Today in our complex society, I believe it is more accurate to say every institution is a lengthened shadow of teams of men. If success and happiness at the level of our daily lives stem from the practice of good human relations, I believe the same rule applies to the broader areas of understanding among the peoples of the world. I do not say there's a quick or easy solution, but when a beginning is made toward finding one, it seems to me that it will start with the recognition of the dignity of the individual and a respect for the beliefs of others, however different they may be from our own. Those differences may not be as insurmountable as most people think. I learned a little lesson along that line in Singapore recently. We wanted to give a dinner for our entire organization, but were told it would be impossible. Mohammedans would eat only food prepared by Mohammedans, would not sit at the same table with Hindus, Chinese, or Europeans. Nevertheless, the dinner was held with 3 separate tables, with different kinds of food, and with everybody happy. It was not too difficult to conform with different ideas once the effort was made. Going back to my college professor, I believe we fall short in the field of human understanding because all too often the effort made to understand others is not equal to the challenge. In the realm of material things, we have never been satisfied with the mediocre. I cannot help but wonder what might be achieved if that same intensity of purpose were applied in the seeking of better human relations. We have progressed in science and technology, but there's been woefully little progress in the creation of a common meeting ground for human understanding. I believe that those who accept leadership today, or have it thrust upon them, whether men or nations, are going to have to find such a meeting ground. I believe also that the most useful persons in the world today are the men and women who know how to get along with other people.
That was Stanley C. Allen of Dayton, Ohio. He is president of the National Cash Register Company.
The makers of Camel cigarettes present Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective.
What cigarette do you smoke, Doctor? Again, this question has been asked of doctors in every branch of medicine. And again, the brand name most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Here, transcribed, is Richard Diamond, private detective, starring Dick Powell.
Being a private detective is like ordering stew in a cheap restaurant. You never know what you're getting until it's too late. It was that way the other morning. I was sitting in my office practicing curtain speeches to my creditors when she came in. She was wearing a casual item that must have caused a sharp dip at the mink population. When she reached my desk, she stopped and her perfume kept moving. She probably noticed the glassy look reaching my eyes because she said,
"Does my perfume bother you, Mr. Diamond?"
"Well, no, not at all. My fangs always show like this."
Mm-hmm. Le Joie. It carries a special guarantee.
Well, I won't ask for what. Won't you sit down, Miss...
Not Miss, just Yvonne. It's not my real name, but I find it has a better effect on the trade.
The trade?
Cosmetics. Perfumes, facial creams, mud packs. I manufacture them. Mostly for women, but I have a lot of male customers.
I bet you do. Unfortunately, I've just bought a magnum of shaving lotion myself.
Oh, don't be silly, Mr. Diamond. I didn't come here to sell you anything. I'm sure you wouldn't have any need for my products.
We'll save that debate for later.
Well, I'll be brief. I'm a woman who likes to come to the point.
I can see that.
How would a $200 fee sound to you?
Like a mirage, but beautiful.
Here you are. $100 now. The rest when you finish the job.
Well, far be it from me to hesitate over money. Especially that nice, luxurious shade of green. But don't you think that...
Of course. You want to know what you have to do.
It would help.
It's very simple. This afternoon, the Ile-de-France docks in New York. On the ship will be a man named Bouchon.
One of your customers? Or is this social?
Monsiur Bouchon has developed a wonderful new face cream. He's arranged for me to have the exclusive American rights.
Well, that's fine.
All you do is pick up the sample from Monsiur Bouchon at his hotel and bring it to me.
Oh, I see. Do you mind if I look at your legs?
Well, no. But I thought we were talking business.
We are. Mm-hmm. Well, you've got nice legs, Yvonne.
They take me where I want to go.
What keeps them from taking you to Bouchon's hotel?
You mean pick up the sample myself? I was sure you'd ask that.
Well, I did.
You don't know the cosmetic industry, Mr. Diamond. My competitors would do anything to get hold of that face cream.
They know you expect Bouchon?
Only one of them. A ruthless man.
Does he have a name or just a disposition?
Robert Mockler. He owns the Venus Beauty Enterprises.
And you think he might follow you, take the sample away before you can start to manufacture? So you're paying me $200 to protect it?
Oh, Mr. Diamond, I'm going to like you. You're so understanding.
$100 bills make me that way.
I'll expect you tonight around 7:30.
My job's over when I deliver the sample to you, is that it?
Yes. But don't make any plans for the rest of the evening. There's a new perfume I want to try out.
She gave me her address and the name of Bouchon's hotel. Then she walked to the door with a motion cats spend years trying to learn. I sat there a while, letting my head clear and my temperature sink to a mere galloping fever. I had a bite of lunch, strolled around most of the afternoon, doing things people do to kill time in New York. It was about 4 when I climbed the stairs and walked down the hall to my apartment. Au clair de la lune, mon ami Poirot, prêtez-moi la plume pour écrire. Oh, she was too old for that anyway. Hey, what is this?
Hello, Diamond.
But didn't you knock? Or did you think this was an L station?
I knocked, nobody answered. I came in.
Now you can go out.
How much did she pay you?
Who?
Yvonne. How much did she pay you to get that face cream sample?
I'll bet a mud pack to a permanent your name's Muckler.
Yeah. Venus Beauty Enterprises. I'll double what she paid you.
You want that face cream pretty bad, huh?
Bring it to me, huh, Diamond?
Are you that interested in cosmetics?
It's a business. Do I get that sample?
No.
Be nice, Diamond. So I can be nice.
Well, it'll be a strain for both of us.
Triple. I'll give you 3 times what she paid. And a bonus on the side.
Why don't you get it yourself?
Think I'd be here if I knew where Bouchon was?
That door, Mr. Muckler, leads to the hall. Use it.
I ask you to be nice. Once. The second time, I don't ask.
You heard me.
Ow. Ow, you take your hands off me.
I'm just being nice.
You dirty.
Get up. And then get out.
All right, Diamond. I'm leaving.
You take a hint nicely.
I won't forget this.
I wouldn't want you to.
You just lost yourself a chunk of cash, Diamond.
I'm not a very good businessman. It's a habit with me.
That's too bad. Might have helped pay the bill.
What bill?
The undertaker. Funerals run high these days.
He stomped to the door, his face twisted with some private rage that had just become public, and left. When face cream got to be that important, it was time for Richard Diamond to start investigating the cosmetic business. I took a shower, dressed neatly in my most continental fashion, and taxied off to visit Monsiur Bouchon. He was staying at a small hotel in the East 70s, one of those places where the doorman is dressed like an admiral in the Swiss Navy. I ignored the doorman and waded through miles of plush carpet until I found Bouchon's suite. I pushed the buzzer, and when the door opened, I was standing in front of the biggest female this side of a Ringling Brothers tent.
You want something, gentlemen?
Monsieur Bouchon, is he in?
Who you been, gentlemen?
Richard Diamond.
Come in.
What's the matter? Is my tie on crooked?
Please.
Well, the way you're looking at me, maybe my nose is shiny.
It's better when you've been really Richard Diamond. Because, gentlemen, if you know Ben Richard Diamond, they ben break your bones. One bone by one bone. You see, gentlemen?
I'm afraid I do. But now if you'll just...
Monsieur Diamond.
Monsieur Bouchon, I hope.
Name of punctuality, Monsieur Diamond. Exactly on time. I kissed you on one cheek. I kissed you on cheek number 2.
We can stop it right there.
Let me regard you. Ah, oui. It is as if one say you will be. So young, so handsome, so viril.
I feel like a midget next to your watchdog here.
Watchdog? Je ne comprends pas. Ah, oui, Bertha. She is my masseuse. She makes new muscles as the old.
And vice versa on occasion, I suppose.
Regard her, Monsieur Diamond. Name of a Swedish smorgasbord. Is she not magnifique?
Yeah, spellbinding. Now, about that sample I'm supposed to pick up.
But of course, Bertha.
Please.
In the boudoir, Bertha. There is a jar on the bed, next to my Chartreuse dressing gown. Bring it.
Yeah, gentlemen.
I wish to tell you, Monsieur Diamond, how pleasant it is to be back in your New York once more. What a truly magnifique city she is to visit.
But you wouldn't want to live here.
Name of a fortune teller, but you are psychic. How did you know I would say that?
I've been hanging around the tourist bureau.
I do not understand, but I think you are being droll. You would have a tiny brandy with me. Some logis du mail, n'est-ce pas?
Well, thanks, but I've got a date with a room full of perfume.
Ah, the Yvonne. Naturally, the incomparable Yvonne. Well, I suppose I cannot persuade you to stay. Thank you, Bertha.
Please.
Here, Monsieur Diamond, is the latest Bouchon creation.
That's all? Just this jar?
I have worked so hard on this sample. Oui. How I have labored. You will take good care of it, yes?
Well, for $200, I'd tuck it in bed and sing it a lullaby.
But no. No. You must not do that. You must make haste and place the sample in the hands of the lovely Yvonne.
Any message to go with it?
The sample. She will be message enough.
Okay, I'll be seeing you.
Of a certainty you will, Monsieur Diamond. Of a certainty.
I looked back on my way out of the suite. Monsiur Bouchon had an atomizer in each hand, spraying the room with cologne. The expression on his face reminded me of the python who had just swallowed his week's supply of rabbit on the hoof. I snowshoed my way down to the street and started to look for a taxi. I didn't have to look far.
Hey, Mac!
Huh?
Over here, Mac.
You looking for a hack?
That's right.
Hop in.
53.
Sit down and be nice, Mr. Diamond, or I'll blow your head off.
Well, you leave me a limited choice, Mr. Muckler.
That's better. Fine work, Willie.
Yeah, pretty neat, huh, Mr. Muckler?
I'll answer that, Willie. It was neat. Now, I'd like to...
Diamond. I thought you were going to be nice. I'll take that gun.
Well, you might give me a gold star for trying.
We're fixing your gold star right now. My place, Willie.
It didn't do any good to tell myself I should have known better. I'd been caught by a trick 10 times older than I was. I took a quick look at Muckler's profile just to make sure it was still there. It was. I didn't have to look at his gun. It had found a home between my 4th and 5th rib. We finally pulled up in front of an apartment just off Park Avenue. Muckler herded me across a foyer that might have been cheerful in McKinley's day. He pushed me toward the elevator.
All right, get in.
Would you mind shifting that gun a bit? My floating ribs run aground.
I'll be nice, Diamond. Suits you better than being funny.
I was just trying to be pleasant. But if you insist,
Don't talk so loud. My neighbors are refined. All right, get out.
Aren't you making a lot of fuss over nothing? After all, it's only a jar of face cream.
You'd be surprised.
No kidding. Any drugstore.
Shut up.
Oh, nice place.
It's a place. All right, give me the sample.
But just for the record, suppose I say no.
You say no, you won't have a record. The sample, Diamond.
Get it. My coat pocket.
That's right. Oh, I thought you'd try that.
Give me that gun.
Okay, right between your pretty blue eyes.
His gun caught me a glancing blow in the forehead, and I went down. I couldn't have been out for more than a few seconds, because when I came to, Muckler was still in the room. I tried to get up, but my body had a will of its own. At the moment, what it wanted most was to rest comfortably on the rug. Muckler didn't notice me. He was too busy trying to get the top off the jar. When he finally did...
Before we continue with Richard Diamond, here is an important question. What's the best way to find out about smoking enjoyment? Well, you won't find out much from one puff or one sniff. It takes day in, day out smoking. Make the sensible, thorough cigarette test. Smoke only Camels for 30 days. You'll discover how rich and flavorful Camels are pack after pack. You'll find how mild Camels are, how well they agree with your throat week after week. In a coast-to-coast test of hundreds of people who smoked Camels for 30 days, noted throat specialists reported not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels. No other cigarette gives you this conclusive proof of mildness. And no other cigarette has Camel's rich, full flavor, the flavor of costly tobaccos, properly aged and expertly blended. So make your own Camel 30-day test, the sensible test. You'll enjoy every puff, and you'll see why so many people say, once a Camel smoker, always a Camel smoker.
How mild can a cigarette be? Take the Camel 30-day test, and you'll see. Smoke Camels and see.
And now back to Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
Rick. Rick, come on, boy. Wake up.
Oh. Wow, did they say nice things about me, Walt?
Who?
The preacher. The one who read my funeral service. Oh.
This is a hospital, and you're not dead.
Oh. You mean I've got to go all through that again?
Why you're not dead is something I'll never know. What happened?
You tell me, Walt.
Well, we got a call an hour ago to come to the apartment of a guy named Mockler. There'd been an explosion. You were stretched out on what was left of the floor.
Oh, that potent face cream.
Face cream? You sure you're awake, Rick?
I'm awake, yeah. What about Mockler?
Well, he was around the apartment. I might say all around.
Oh, so it was a booby trap.
Booby trap? What's this all about?
Walt, are those my pants on the chair?
Well, what's left of them?
Throw them over, will you?
Now, wait a minute, Rick. Aren't you going to tell me what's going on?
Sure. A Frenchman named Bouchon was trying to blow up a girl named Yvonne with a jar of face cream.
That face cream again. Maybe you better stay here a while, huh?
Look, Walt, nothing makes sense yet.
That's the first sensible thing you've said since you woke up.
Give me time to ask a few people some questions.
How would it be if I asked him?
You wouldn't get the same answers.
All right, Rick. We'll give it a try.
I'll call you as soon as I've made a visit.
Don't wait too long. There's a murder rap crying for a head to fall on.
I checked out of the hospital and walked a few blocks to shake the India rubber out of my legs. I knew it wouldn't do any good, but I ducked into a phone booth and called Bouchon's hotel. And as I expected, he'd pulled out a couple of hours before. The manager had no idea where he'd gone. There was only one place left for me to go, and it was a little after 10 when Yvonne opened her door for me. I could tell by the quiet music on the radio that she didn't know what had happened. The way she greeted me bolstered up my deduction.
Well, hello. Do come in, Mr. Diamond.
Thanks. Aren't you afraid of catching cold in that thing?
You mean this negligee? I wore it specially for you. I've been waiting a long time. Too long.
Well, you just missed waiting a lot longer.
That Monsiur Bouchon, so talkative.
He has a few other qualities.
Come sit down. Here on the chaise longue. Next to me.
Well, I hate to make a detour, but let's get the sad news over with first.
Oh? Something's gone wrong?
Well, you almost got it. Nothing's gone right.
I should have known. Your clothes are...
You ought to see what your face cream did to Mockler's clothes.
Mockler? Did he get that sample?
He had it for a few minutes, if that's what you mean.
Mr. Diamond, if I didn't like you, I'd be very angry.
Well, you shouldn't be. When Mockler opened that sample, he got very dead. It was a bomb.
I don't understand. The face cream Monsiur Bouchon gave you was a bomb?
Well, not quite, no. The bomb Monsieur gave me was a bomb.
Just a minute, Mr. Diamond. Let me turn off this radio. You don't know how this upsets me.
I know. I was upset myself this evening, violently.
Oh, you poor boy.
Well, no, that helps.
Hand me that bag, please, there on the coffee table.
Well, if you want a handkerchief.
Now, I have what I'm looking for. Here, Mr. Diamond. $100. The other half of your fee.
No? Does an explanation come of that?
I'm sure you'll excuse me until another time. Won't you?
Well, when you say it like that,
I'm sorry. I was so looking forward to... Good night, Mr. Diamond.
There were a few reasons why I'd like to have hung around. but I could tell this just wasn't my night. So I left Ivan, called Walt, and told him he could forward the bill for Mockler's murder to Monsiur Bouchon if he could find him. Then I crawled into a little bistro on 53rd Street to relax and count my $100 bills. I was on my second cup of coffee and third Camel cigarette when it came to me. Like the paraphrase of an old song, Bouchon knew that I knew. If he'd been foolish enough to let me be messenger for his booby trap, it was a cinch he wouldn't be foolish for very long. As long as I was walking around in one piece, Bouchon could never feel safe. I could have dodged him, maybe for a long time, but I decided it would be better to see him when he wanted to see me. I went home and made myself available. At 11:35, the walls of my room started to shudder when somebody pounded on the door. I didn't have any doubts about who it was.
Oh, be careful, will you? It's just mahogany.
It's only me, gentlemen. Bertha.
I couldn't possibly have guessed.
Please.
Oh, never mind. What do you want?
Monsiur Bouchon, they have been send me.
It'll be a tight squeeze, but won't you come in?
You come out, gentlemen.
Okay, just as soon as I get my coat.
You know they need your coat, gentlemen.
Well, it's right over here.
You come now, gentlemen. They will assist your arm. Please.
Oh, nothing. I always thought my arm bent the other way.
It's better this way. It's healthy for bones. You come now, gentlemen.
Please. She put a little more pressure on my arm and led me down the stairs. She was so clumsy I could have taken her with a few artful motions, but Bouchon had sent her, and I wanted to see Bouchon. When we reached the street, Bertha grabbed my other arm. We made an interesting entrance into a taxi, which took us to a shabby apartment house on Bleecker Street in Greenwich Village. Bertha adjusted her half-Nelson, and we climbed 3 flights of stairs. The end of our little pilgrimage was a pair of termite-ridden rooms, which I never would have associated with a fastidious Frenchman. Bouchon was not there, and Bertha didn't seem to know what to do with me. Then her eyes lighted up. She angled me across the room, pulled open a door, looked at me brightly, and said,
Is bathroom, gentlemen?
Well, thanks. I brushed my teeth this evening.
Go in.
Where's Bouchon?
It's not good. You've been asked questions. Go in.
No, we'll wait out here.
It's more comfortable inside. If you know Ben, go inside. I've been glad to assist you.
I was ready to argue the point when I looked in the bathroom and saw a table full of bottles and jars. So I let Bertha shove me inside and lock the door behind me. Then I walked over to the table. Next to a bottle labeled Valley of Indecision Cologne stood a jar, exactly like the booby trap Bouchon had given me earlier in the evening. I picked it up, decided that forever was a long time to live, and opened it. This time it really was face cream. I poked my fingers around in the jar to see what made it so wonderful. When I pulled them out, things suddenly became a lot clearer. Because just under the top layer of face cream was buried the biggest blue sapphire I'd ever seen. I wiped it off and slipped it into my pocket just about the time the outer door opened.
Bertha?
It was Bouchon, and he didn't waste time starting in on Bertha.
Bertha, where is this diamond? You have not brought him.
Ben, bring him.
But I do not see him.
Ben, bring him.
Lord, where is he? Where is he?
Lock him in the bathroom.
In the bathroom? Oh, mon Dieu, mon Dieu. Unlock the door.
Get the key.
I had to do something, and I had to do it fast. I looked around. Then in the bathtub, I saw what I wanted. One of those rubber hoses with a shower attachment that can be pointed in any direction. I turned on the hot water full blast and waited.
Monsieur Diamond.
Monsieur Bouchon?
Mon Dieu, the steam, I cannot see.
Here I am.
Ah! I am scalded. You have burnt me.
Give me that gun.
Oh, mon Dieu.
That's right. Now stand back.
Gentlemen.
All right, Bertha, turn off that water.
I am scalded.
Now you'll live. Oh, that was some face cream.
Mon Dieu, the sapphire. You have taken it.
You won't need it, Bouchon. They'll just take it away from you before they put you in the chair. I persuaded Bouchon, with the help of his gun, which I was holding, to tie up Bertha. Then I knotted some bright red French neckties around his hands and feet and surveyed the situation. There was no phone in the apartment, so I locked the two of them in and raced down to a drugstore on the corner. I caught the owner just as he was closing and put in a call to Walt. Then I doubled back to the apartment to keep Bouchon and Bertha company. I thought it was funny that the door was open when I had locked it so carefully. I stopped thinking it was funny when I walked through the door straight into the barrel of an ugly automatic.
Hello, Mr. Diamond.
Well, Yvonne.
You're just in time. We're going to start a treasure hunt.
He has it. He is the one.
Monsieur Bouchon seems to think you picked up a sapphire by mistake, Mr. Diamond. Probably in the excitement of the evening.
It is true. All what I tell, it is true.
You hear what Monsieur Bouchon says. But Monsieur Bouchon tried to kill me tonight. Maybe he also lied.
No, he took it. Name of a...
Oh, do be quiet, Monsieur Bouchon. You disturb us. Well, Mr. Diamond?
Oh, come on, Yvonne. You're taking this thing much too seriously.
Mr. Diamond, I've said repeatedly that I like you. But that won't stop me from shooting you, if I have to.
Now, you are intense, aren't you?
I've risked a lot to get that stone. Let's not make it more difficult.
Well, you haven't asked Bertha what she knows.
Bertha?
Sure. Go ahead, ask her.
All right. What do you know about the sapphire, Bertha?
Please.
Oh, Mr. Diamond, I believe you're pulling my leg.
Oh, please. I've got a good answer, but I'm afraid this isn't the time.
Do you have the sapphire?
Oh, for want of a better word, yes.
Give it to me.
Oh, Grandma, what a greedy voice you've developed.
You're wasting time.
Only in a manner of speaking.
Come on, Diamond. I'm not so...
Hold it where you are. Drop the gun, miss. Go ahead, drop it.
Well, you certainly took your time, Fatty.
I got here as fast as I could.
I was just running out of words. Wasn't I, Yvonne?
Mm-hmm. You know something, Mr. Diamond.
Tell me, dear.
I'm sure I'll hate myself in the morning. But it's funny. I still like you.
Well, when we got onto it, the whole thing was really pretty simple. Yvonne and Bouchon were running a fancy smuggling racket under a cosmetics cover. Bouchon wanted to make it a one-man operation. So he tried to dissolve the partnership the hard way by killing Yvonne. It didn't work because Mockler found out about the sapphire, got in the way, and stopped the bomb intended for Yvonne. Monsieur Bouchon summed the whole thing up rather neatly on the way to the station house. He said,
Mon Dieu, I should have stood in France.
Dick Powell will return in just a minute. More people smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Yes, more people smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Among the millions of Camel smokers are many stars whose throats are their fortunes. Stars like Reza Stevens, Patrice Munsell, Mario Lanza. Great singers who insist on mildness in their cigarette and find it in Camels. Friends, make the sensible cigarette test. Smoke only Camels for 30 days and see how mild, how flavorful, how thoroughly enjoyable a cigarette can be.
How mild, how mild, how mild, how mild can a cigarette be? Take the Camel 30-day test, and you'll see. Smoke Camels and see.
Here's Dick Powell with a special message.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever spent any length of time in a hospital bed, you know how gift can cheer you up. Every week, the Camel people send gift cigarettes to our hospitalized veterans and servicemen, both in this country and overseas. This week's free Camels go to veterans hospitals, Downey, Illinois, and Indianapolis, Indiana, Army and Navy General Hospital, Hot Springs, Arkansas, U.S. Naval Hospital Ship, Constellation. Now, until next week, enjoy Camels. I always do.
Dick Powell can now be seen starring in RKO's Cry Danger. Tonight's adventure of Richard Diamond was written by Charles E. Israel with music by Frank Worth. Our director is Helen Mack. Featured in the cast were Arthur Q. Bryan, Joan Banks, James Backus, Theodore Van Elst, and Sheldon Leonard.
Men, there's pleasure in every pipeful of Prince Albert, the national joy smoke. PA's choice tobacco has a rich flavor and a fine, natural fragrance. It's crimp cut for smooth, even burning, and specially treated to ensure against tongue bite. Get Prince Albert, America's largest selling smoking tobacco.
Listen next week for another exciting transcribed adventure of Richard Diamond, starring Dick Powell. This is Your FBI. The official broadcast from the files of the FBI follows immediately. Stay tuned. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the American Broadcasting Company.
This, I believe. Stanley Kramer is an independent motion picture producer. In recent years, he has often been referred to as Hollywood's Wonder Boy, or genius on a low budget, and his friends add that he is a dedicated individual, dedicated to an ideal which underlies every picture he has made, including High Noon, The Happy Time, and The Four Poster. What is that ideal? Let's hear it in Stanley Kramer's own words.
Outside of those close to me and my family, one other person has had great influence on my way of living. That was the school teacher I had when I was 9 years old in New York City. Her influence was summed up in one simple statement. She said, "If you want to succeed in life, don't try to court great popularity. The greatest men who ever lived earned their greatness by doing what they felt was right in their hearts, no matter what anyone else thought. Have the courage to be unpopular." I've tried to use this precept as a barometer for a long time now. Sometimes it made for discomfort and many setbacks. I first came to Hollywood as a writer, and I like to think that what I wrote was unpopular instead of just immature. At any rate, a year later I found myself as an $18 a week backlot laborer. With the first 2 pictures I produced, I learned something of the truth of what that teacher had told me. In Champion, the hero was a heel, and Home of the Brave treated the delicate problem of a Negro soldier in an experience with his fellow men. I had put, I hoped, faith, integrity, and sincerity into these pictures, and turned deaf to the veteran showmen who were trying to convince me that I was committing professional suicide. But the public responded to what the pictures had to say, and the way it was said. They supported these pictures lavishly because, and I have always been firm in this belief, the level of public intelligence and taste is much higher than has been credited. More than that, it will respond in large measure to new ideas if they are expounded with vitality and sincerity. I believe that the key to progress and freedom is in the conscious fight against fear of public opinion. It applies to every facet of living and working. It means that a man must dare to protect his basic free ideas against any attempt to throttle them. It implies the courage to break established patterns and launch new ideas and methods. Even without the encouragement of a few early successes, I would still have made my 3 most recent pictures. Each in its own way required for its full expression a certain amount of defiance of popular conceptions in picture making. To make these pictures with sincerity, we had to risk unpopularity by avoidance of popular cliches and compromises. I would prefer to face professional criticism for departure from safe norms in favor of what recognition I may receive from the public for honest exploration of new avenues in entertainment. Cultivation of conformity and popularity is a safe way of life, but a really dull and dishonest one. I believe that it is the individual's obligation to the society in which he lives to preserve his integrity and basic liberties. In more personal terms, this means that I must be prepared to fly in the face of public opinion and stand firm on convictions that I know in my heart to be right. There may be a touch of martyrdom in it, but I firmly believe that that teacher had the ultimate answer when she said, "If you want to succeed in life, have the courage to be unpopular."
That was Hollywood producer Stanley Kramer, a native of New York. He started his career as a Hollywood writer and now heads the Stanley Kramer Company, Incorporated.
Mr. District Attorney, starring David Bryan. Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as district attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens. This is David Bryan. In a moment, we'll bring you another case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. But first, a word from our sponsor.
And now, here is our star, David Bryan, as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
A knowledge of the law is a minor part of the qualifications of a district attorney, because enforcement of the law depends upon factors outside the law. Things the district attorney must know or learn if the blindfold on justice is to be lifted. Take this case. It started late one night in the cultivated field in the farm area of the county.
How many more bales we got to load, Slim?
15, 20 left, that's all.
Well, this will be the last truckload, then.
Yeah. The sooner you get off the place with it, the better.
Mullen's sure going to be surprised when he gets a look at this field tomorrow.
What do we get for this stuff?
Market's about $30 a ton. Clear almost $200 apiece. Not as much as we could make stealing livestock.
Sure, steal livestock and get sent to the pen. Maybe there ain't as much money in alfalfa, but it ain't marked either. Nobody can say it ain't yours once you get in the clear with it.
You suppose Mullen suspects you had something to do with this?
Me? His old army buddy? Not a chance. Besides, he saw me take a sleeping pill before we turned in tonight. At least he thinks he saw me take it. Give me the pitchfork.
Here.
Push these bales back away from the tailgate.
Slim.
What's the matter?
I heard something moving over by the rack.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Mullen. Maybe he...
Keep quiet, Trent.
Who's out in this field?
It is him.
You better answer me. I can see the outline of your truck.
We better run for it.
No, he woke up. He must know I'm not in the house.
Who are you? Talk up, fast.
It's me. It's me, Mullen. Harry Trent.
What's the matter, Trent? You lost or something? Your farm's on the other side of that fence. What are you doing in my field in the middle of the night? With a truck full of my alfalfa.
Why, I've been...
Save it, Trent. Just tell me where Slim is. Where'd that thieving rat run to?
I didn't run any place, Mullen.
You...
Don't move. That's a pitchfork you feel against your back. Now just march up to the house.
What are you going to do to him, Slim?
I'm going to lend him my bottle of sleeping pills and see to it that he takes an overdose of them. Nice, clean, and quiet.
Well, that'd be a great idea, Slim. If I'd hold still for it. But I ain't about to hold still.
Look out, Slim!
Punch him, Trent. Hit him. Let go of that fork, Mullen. Oh. Now, Mullen, here's something you don't have to hold still for.
Oh! You maniac. Now what are we going to do?
Shut up. We're going to do just what we started to do. Get that load out of here and sell it like we planned, and keep your mouth shut. If you don't, I'll shut it for you. Now get going.
Ain't you coming?
Of course I'm not coming, stupid. I'm going into the house and back to bed, where I've been all night. Get going.
There's the body, Chief. Who found it, Harry?
Hound came across it earlier this morning.
set up a racket. Dog's owner knew by the way he was barking that something was up, so he came over.
One of those men?
Yeah. Fell on the Mackinac. Named Sam Richardson. His farmer joins this one along the east fence.
Who are the other two men?
Well, Harry Trent. Farm on the north is his. The skinny one is Slim Ferryman. He worked for Mullen, lives here on the place. Says he and Mullen were war buddies.
Find out if he has any family?
Just a sister, married. Name's Wharton, Ellie Wharton. She lives upstate someplace. We're trying to trace her.
Well, can't talk to her until we find her. We better talk to the neighbors now.
All right, Chinch. Just lie down. He won't fight. This is Mr. Garrett, the district attorney, gentlemen.
Howdy.
Hello. This is Sam Richardson, chief. This one's Harry Trent, and this one is Slim Ferryman.
Hi. Hello.
Gentlemen, I understand your dog found the body, Mr. Richardson.
That's right.
When did you last see Mullen alive?
Yesterday morning. Passed each other by the fence down there. Talked a minute or two.
Well, how about you, Mr. Trent?
Well, I ain't seen Mullen for a couple of days, I guess.
Slim seems to be the one who saw him last, Chief.
Except for whoever killed him, he means, Mr. Garrett.
I know what he means. Tell me about you while we walk over to the house.
Well, sure. I saw Mullen last night. We ate supper, and I turned in early.
Then this must have happened during the night.
Must have.
Why would Mullen come out to this field at night?
I don't know. I didn't even know he'd left the house until Richardson came pounding on the door and woke me up this morning after he found the body. Is that right, Sam?
That's right.
Well, how come you didn't hear Richardson's dog? Body's closer to where you were than where he was.
Well, I was sleeping kind of heavy. I took a sleeping pill last night. Must have knocked me out good. We put in a hard day yesterday.
Doing what?
Loading alfalfa from this field onto the truck. Me and Mullen must have moved about 200 bales.
Oh? Well, I was wondering why there were so few bales from such a large field. Only a dozen or so left.
Well, Mullen had a buyer for most of it, I guess. Anyhow, he spent the day trucking it away.
Tire tracks all over the field, Chief.
Mm-hmm. Any idea who Mullen sold his crop to, Slim?
He didn't say.
You think somebody might have paid for the stuff, Chief? Then come back to rob him?
Yeah, that's it. Mullen made the robbing mighty convenient by coming out into this field at night.
Mm-hmm. There was no money on the body, Chief.
He may have hidden it in the house, or maybe even had time to bank it yesterday. I want a thorough check made on it. If anybody...
Oh, that's the phone.
Hold it, Slim. I'll get it. You stay out here. Hello?
Mr. Garrett?
Oh, yes, Miss Minnow.
We located Mullen's sister, Ellie Wharton.
Oh, good. Where is she?
A town called Haskell, about 40 miles upstate. The address is 414 Sycamore Street.
Has she been notified of her brother's death?
I called the local minister, asked him to break it to her.
Oh, that's good. She may be in condition to talk by the time Harrington and I get there. I want you to call the lab. Have Fred Morgan sent out here. Tell him to bring plaster of Paris, moulage equipment.
Yes, sir.
There are a lot of truck tire tracks in the field where Mullen was killed. I want castings made and compared with the tire tread on Mullen's own truck to make sure it was Mullen's truck.
Yes, sir.
And tell Fred to wait until evening to do it. I don't want anybody to see him.
I understand.
You know where to reach me. Ellie Wharton's in Haskell.
Yes, sir.
Who was it?
It was for me.
I'd like to get back to my farm if it's all right, Mr. Garrett.
Well, you can all go about your business for now. Come on, Harrington.
Where to, Chief?
Haskell, in upstate. We'll get Mullen's sister.
You, think you'll know anything?
Well, I don't know. But Mullen's friends and neighbors don't seem to know much, do they?
Why would anybody want to kill him?
Won't you sit down, Mrs. Wharton, please?
I can't. He was here only last Sunday, spending the day with us, playing with the baby and arguing with Dan.
Who is Dan?
My husband.
What were they arguing about, Mrs. Wharton?
Oh, I didn't mean a real argument. Politics, taxes. You know how men get to talking.
You know of anybody who might have gained anything by having your brother out of the way?
No, he never made any enemies.
The motive must have been robbery, Chief. The crop money.
Yes. I guess we'd better get back to town. Oh, you shouldn't be alone here, Mrs. Wharton.
The minister's coming back later.
Can't your husband come home from work?
He's away for a few days on a business trip.
Away? Where?
Buying crops. He works for the Haskell Feed and Grain Company.
Oh, I see. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Wharton.
Chief, that job her husband's got.
Yes, buying feed and grain crops.
Seems to me like Mullen would sell that alfalfa to his own brother-in-law.
Seems that way to me, too. We'll drive over to Haskell Feed and Grain. I noticed their storage elevators off the highway when we were coming in.
Wharton won't be there.
Well, no, but they might be able to tell us where to find him.
Almost 4 p.m., Chief. We must have covered 50 farms since yesterday afternoon.
Well, Wharton's in this area someplace. Hey, look.
Huh? What?
Car parked outside of the barn up ahead.
Yeah, that's it, all right. Haskell Feed and Grain emblem on the side of the door. I don't see anybody around.
He might be in the barn.
There he is, the other end of the barn, leaning on the stall. Must be the owner of the farm he's talking to.
Oh, he's seen us. Coming this way now. Watch him carefully, just in case.
Yep.
You fellas looking for me?
You Dan Wharton?
That's right.
Would you mind telling us when you last saw your brother-in-law?
2 days ago, when I started out on this trip.
You stopped by his place?
That's right.
Family call or business?
Business. Made a bid on his alfalfa. We're just about finished sweating, ready to be hauled for storage.
Oh, how did you pay him for it? Cash or a company check?
I didn't pay him for it. He said it wasn't for sale.
You better be sure of that, mister.
What do you mean?
He means Mullen's alfalfa crop was sold and moved just before Mullen was killed. The night of the day you stopped there.
Whoever told you that is a liar.
It's no lie, Wharton. We saw it with our own eyes.
I don't care what you saw. I know that alfalfa wasn't for sale, to me or anybody else.
What makes you so sure of that?
I'll tell you what makes me so sure, and you can check with Bob Mullen's bank. Bob told me he'd made arrangements for a bank loan to buy 20 head of dairy cattle. That's why I'm sure. He was getting them in next month, and he needed that alfalfa for winter forage. He couldn't have sold it, not to anybody.
This is David Bryan. Before we continue with Mr. District Attorney in the case of the blood harvest, here is an important message from my sponsor.
And now back to David Bryan, starring as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
A farmer had been brutally murdered with a pitchfork in a harvested field. His helper had stated that the crop of alfalfa from the field had been sold the day of the murder. But the brother-in-law of the slain man insisted that the crop had not been sold. By the time I got back to my office, there was more disturbing information.
Morgan left these plaster castings of the truck tracks yesterday afternoon.
Will they match the tire treads on Mullen's truck?
He says no. Mullen's tires have just been recapped. These are badly worn. He marked the spots with red ink, especially the crescent-shaped gouge mark.
Might have been the buyer's truck, Chief.
Yes, except that Slim Ferryman said that Mullen hauled the stuff away after loading it. If it was the buyer's truck, Slim would have known who the buyer was, at least a description. Come on, Harrington. Bring those tire track castings with you.
Where to this time?
Back to Mullen's farm. I'm going to find the truck those tire marks came from.
Mullen only had the one truck.
Well, some of his neighbors own trucks, too. I want to make sure none of them owns one with a crescent-shaped gouge in one of the tires.
I'm about walked out, Chief. Why are we crossing the fields when we could drive to each place?
I don't want anybody to know what we're looking for.
Well, Richardson's place was clear. But we're lucky we didn't run into that dog of his. Well, this is Trent's place.
Yeah, looks like he moved his alfalfa crop, too. Fields are clear. Where's the house?
Just about make it out, see? Right there through the trees.
Good. They'll keep us covered. Keep your eyes on the ground.
Right. Hey, hold it.
What?
Nothing. Tractor marks here. Not what we're looking for.
Loose straw on the ground over there. Might have been a loading spot. Move that way.
Yeah. Trent must have had a lot of bales stacked there.
Yes. He certainly did. And there are the truck marks.
Same tread as the casting, all right.
And there's our crescent-shaped mark.
That truck might be over in the barn.
Let it go for now. Send the lab crew out late tonight and get a casting right from the tire while Trent's asleep.
Are we going to drive all the way back into town?
No. We'll call them from the village and wait for them. Meanwhile, let's get off Trent's property before he sees us.
The cafe in the next block should have a phone.
All right.
Hey, look.
Coming out of the cafe, going for his car. We didn't have to be so careful out at Trent's place after all. It was here in the village.
Yeah. Too bad we didn't know that.
Well, it looks like Trent isn't the only one taking a day off.
Yeah. Slim Ferryman in there at the counter. They must have been together.
Now, let's go in.
Hello, Mr. Garrett. Mr. Harrington.
Hello, Slim.
Hiya.
You mind if we join you?
No, of course not. You got any line on who killed Mullen yet?
No. Too bad Mullen never mentioned the name of the man who bought his alfalfa.
Yeah, I wish he had.
You and Mullen go all through Korea together?
No, I never got overseas.
I thought you were war buddies.
Well, sure we were. I mean, I met Bob at a base hospital when he was shipped back. Bob Mullen was the best friend I ever had, you see?
Of course, Slim.
When you get the guy who killed him, I'd like to be there to watch when they strap the rat in the electric chair.
I know just how you feel. And I'll do my best to arrange it for you.
Well, I guess I better be going. Here's your money, mate. So long.
So long, Slim.
See you around. He had his teeth rattling there, Chief.
Yeah.
He was pretty frank about not being overseas with Mullen, though.
Well, he knew I could check his service record if he lied.
Oh, gosh. I forgot to call the lab.
Yes. But we're not going to wait from here. Call Miss Miller and tell her what we want.
Where we going?
Back to Haskell's to pick up Dan Wharton. I need him.
Look, Mr. Garrett, I don't know where you're taking me, but I don't want to leave Ellie alone for long.
We'll get you back as soon as possible. You want to help us get the persons responsible for Mullen's death, don't you?
You know who did it?
We think so. But we need your help to prove it.
How much acreage did Mullen have in alfalfa? Like 7 or 8 to me.
8's right.
Know exactly how much the yield was?
Well, just about 2 tons an acre. 16 ton all told. That's a good yield for this year.
We saw Trent's alfalfa acreage, Harrington. I'd say he cut about 6 acres, wouldn't you?
Gee, Chief, I wouldn't know.
I can tell you, it was 6 acres.
Well, how do you know, Wharton?
I bought Trent's alfalfa crop for my company. Saw him right after Mullen refused to sell.
Feed and grain companies keep a record of all their purchases, don't they?
Sure.
Can the bales be identified? I mean, are they tagged or stored in such a way that you could tell whom they were bought from?
Yes, they are.
What are you driving at, Chief?
Final proof to break Trent down. I want to know if Trent sold any more than 12 tons of alfalfa.
Okay, fellas. Okay, set it down here.
Thanks, men. That's all.
So he did sell more.
That's right, Wharton. This is one of the bales Trent sold to Prescott Grain and Feed.
Sold it the day after he sold his entire crop to you.
And the day after Mullen was murdered.
How much of it did he sell?
15 tons.
Just a little less than Mullen raised.
There are a dozen bales left on Mullen's field, remember? Now, you've got to help us. Is it humanly possible to prove that this alfalfa came from Mullen's fields and not Trent's?
Yes.
Stuff grown on adjoining acreage? How?
Not by the alfalfa itself, but the way it's baled. This stuff Trent sold to me is baled with 14-gauge wire.
And what about it?
This stuff he sold to Prescott's is baled with 16-gauge wire. And that's the wire Bob Mullen baled with, 16-gauge.
All right, Harrington. Now we're ready to pick Trent up. And he can tell us where Slim Ferryman fits. Come on.
Light just went on inside.
I saw it.
What? Oh, it's you fellas. I heard your car come up the road and I thought...
And you thought it was somebody else.
No, I didn't know who it was.
Oh, we thought you might have been expecting Slim Ferryman.
No. Why would Slim come here?
To take a few lessons in farming, perhaps. So you could show him how to raise 27 tons of alfalfa on 6 acres.
27?
You must know how to do it, Trent, because you sold 27 tons.
But 15 tons of it belonged to Bob Mullen. He baled heavier. He used 16-gauge wire while you used 14-gauge.
I bought Mullen's crop.
He turned down Dan Wharton and sold it to you?
I mean, I hauled it for him. He thought the price might be better someplace else.
Not enough to haul it an extra 30 miles to Prescott's. And besides, you made that sale the day after Mullen was killed.
I had to do it. I was in a trap. I was afraid Slim would kill me, too.
Did he kill Mullen? Were you an eyewitness?
Yes, I saw him do it. I never touched Mullen.
Where is Slim now?
I thought you were him when you drove up. He was going to come by sometime during the night. I've been holding Prescott's check for Mullen's crop. You see, Slim was going to pick it up, take it someplace tomorrow for cashing.
There's a car coming up the road now, Chief.
Handcuff Trent to that water pipe, quick.
But I didn't kill him, I didn't.
Mister, make it easy.
Let's get out there, Harrington.
Why not let them cut to us?
He won't stop. You'll see our car and recognize it the minute he turns in behind the house.
He saw it. He's backing up the turn.
Get his tires.
That stopped him.
He's running for it. Move off to that side. The car's shielding him.
Stop running, Slim. You can't beat a bullet.
He's running into the barn.
What's that?
Down in the stall there, I think.
Doc, I can't see.
Look out, Harrington!
I got him.
Yes. I think that's Trent's truck there. I'll turn on the headlights. He's dead, Harrington.
Yeah, I didn't see him. I don't even know how I hit him. I just ducked when you yelled, and something whizzed by, and I fired.
Yeah, he was on the ladder to the loft.
What was it he threw at me?
This.
What is it?
Sickle. Dug into the stall post about 2 inches deep.
Yeah, I was standing right there, too. Felt that feed bag brush my face just as you yelled. It's a lucky thing you did.
Yeah, I'm afraid Slim Ferryman wouldn't agree with him.
Look where he landed.
Yes. Stall full of alfalfa. Let's get Trent and take him in. This is David Bryan. I hope you enjoyed this case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. I'll be back in just a moment after this message from our sponsor.
Now, here's the star of Mr. District Attorney, David Bryan, with a word about the program you have just heard.
Slim Ferryman's death ended the case. Harry Trent entered a plea of guilty to murder in the second degree and is now serving a 20-year sentence. Now, this is David Bryan inviting you to join us when we present our next case based on the facts of crime from the file of Mr. District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney was originated by Phillips H. Lord.